boy, I feel like this whole episode we just have to be bubbly to compete with our bubbly guest. That's right, the one and only Azaria Carter coming on the show to talk about NBC's Found.
Yes, the biggest, highest rated show on NBC currently at the moment, the highest rated new show of the season. No surprise if you guys haven't checked it out. Our friend, the lovely Shanola Hampton, is the star of that show. And our guest this week, Azaria Carter, plays the young Shanola Hampton, young Gabby on that show. And she goes into great detail about how they worked that out because it's amazing how they do it. What an exciting interview. And you're right, she is bubbly. That big smile, it's contagious.
It's so good. It's so good. It's such an amazing conversation that I do feel like a lot of people will be able to learn from. I know I say that all the time, but I truly mean it because everybody has different things that, they pass along in each interview. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm super excited for everybody to hear that. But that is later on in the show. Now, let's get a little crazy. Hello, everyone. So you want to start a podcast but have no idea where to start? Well, Crazy Ant Media is here to help you. We want to assist you finding your VFE. What's VFE, you ask? Well, that is your voice, your format, and your equipment. These are the three biggest essentials you need to start your podcast. All those hours watching nonstop YouTube videos or all those random website links, those are done. Just hop on a Zoom call with us and we'll talk about everything you need to know to create your own podcast and find your voice. Plus, we will send you home with a 12-page packet over everything we just discussed. It's very in-depth. It is definitely a must-need while trying to start your first podcast. Contact us at info@crazyantmedia.com today so that you can start finding your podcast voice for tomorrow. What's up, guys? Oh my goodness, episode 248 of ITCAFpodcast.
Yes.
We are 2 away from the big 250th show.
I can't even believe that. It seems good. It seems like, we today, this week, this show, we want to let the good times roll. I said that right. Because I can never get that stuff. I can't ever get it right. I can't speak French. But I can say let the good times roll because it is Mardi Gras season, y'all. And we are all in on Mardi Gras. So, we could get a little crazy this week. We might not.
For sure. But it's going to be a great show, guys. You guys know your host with the most, myself, J-Lo Fantastic, and the one and only Mao.
What's up?
Boy, oh boy, it is going to be a great show. There is a lot happening in Hollywood that we are going to deep dive into and so much going on, man. I mean, it's an amazing time of year, that's for sure. It's starting to warm a little bit back up, at least where I'm at. I don't know about you.
Yeah, it's at low 60s here, low 60s. It was like 31 horrible. This morning, low 60s in the afternoon, which kind of makes things difficult, kind of fucks the body up. But it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, man. I get it, especially it also messes up the sinuses, that's for sure.
And the migraines and anything.
It's wild.
But you do what you got to do.
That's right. And before teasing the rest of this show, be sure to leave a rating on this podcast, comment below, and tell us what you actually think about ITCAF Podcast. Because, of course, if you love the entertainment news, this is where you get to see it. But this podcast is meant more to the up-and-comers trying to break into the entertainment industry. And if you leave a rating and a comment, that helps people, especially those people, see this podcast and find it. So it's very important that you do that. We appreciate it every single time. So
we do,
man. I mean, the last couple of weeks since we've came back at the beginning of January have been amazing. So I mean, it's an honor to be able to serve you guys every week with some entertainment news on a nice, beautiful platter. But yeah, there's a lot going on that I feel like, and a particular saddening death that happened literally the day of this recording. So that's going to be deep to talk about, I feel like, right?
Yeah, it was shocking. I saw it come up and I was like, this can't be true. This isn't true. I just but it is. And this one hit. This one hit hard.
It really did.
I was like, damn.
I know. But before going into the industry news, of course, we have to talk about our merchandise website,
We do.
www.crazyantmedia.com, where you can start rocking the latest and greatest Crazy Ant Media gear. We have the shirts, we have the hats, we have new designs as well. So that's why you got to check it out. Are you listening? A new podcast design out right now.
Yes.
So be sure to check those out and follow us at ITCAFpodcast and at Crazy Ant Media so you know when the promotional sales are going on, so you can get them at a cheaper price, because we know we know how to stretch that dollar, and we know you do too. So that's why you got to follow us at ITCAF and at Crazy Ant Media to stay up to date with all the promotional sales.
Ruth.
Yes. But this is the one we were teasing a little bit. This is the one we were talking about. Carl Weathers. Man, we begin the industry news with some sad and shocking news. Like I said, Carl Weathers, he has passed away at the time of this recording, day of. He was 76, and the cause of death has not yet been released, but his family said in a statement, quote, "We are deeply saddened to announce the passing of Carl Weathers. He died peacefully in his sleep Thursday, February 1st of 2024. Carl was an exponential human being who lived an extraordinary life. Through his contributions in film, television, and the arts of sports and entertainment, he has left an incredible mark and is recognized worldwide and across generations. He was a beloved brother, father, grandfather, partner, and friend. He was born on January 14th of 1948, so he just celebrated a birthday. In New Orleans, Louisiana. Weathers appeared in more than 75 films and television shows during his 50-year screen career. He appeared in 9 episodes of Disney Plus's Star Wars series, The Mandalorian. Over 3 years, he voiced Combat Carl in the Oscar-winning Toy Story 4, and originating the character for the 2013 TV special Toy Story of Terror. Other credits include his 1988 star turn in Action Jackson, which came after he starred opposite of Arnold Schwarzenegger in 1987's Predator. But of course, he is best known for playing Apollo Creed, the heavyweight champion of the world, who gave the journeyman Philly boxer Rocky Balboa, of course, Sylvester Stallone, a shot at the title in 1976's Rocky. Now, Weathers reprised his role in Rocky II in 1979, which he featured a title rematch with Balboa, and in 1982's Rocky III, where he brawled the clubber-laying Mr. T. Creed's final film in the franchise was Rocky IV? Is that what that is?
Yep.
Rocky IV, we know I am bad at Roman numerals, in 1985, where he was killed in the ring by the Russian heavyweight champion Ivan Drago, who, of course, is Dolph Lundgren. But yeah, man, this one honestly came out of nowhere. It literally, we heard about it probably about 2 hours ago before this recording. So very fresh in our brains, and I just, he seemed like such a genuine human being on screen and in interviews and things like that. So he's going to be definitely missed in the entertainment industry.
Oh, for sure. And the tributes are already coming in. Adam Sandler. I'm waiting for Sylvester Stallone. We haven't seen it yet, but Adam Sandler and Pedro Pascal and so many people are already commenting about just that. What a genuine guy he was. What a great father he was. What a great friend he was. We're just seeing him. Gronk is getting ready to try to kick that field goal again in the Super Bowl, and he's his coach. He's in those commercials coaching him, and he looks great. That's why I was so shocked. I'm like, I don't know. I'm only speculating. They said he passed away peacefully, maybe in his sleep from a heart attack or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because he looked great. He didn't look like he was sick or anything, so it's just comes as a real shocker. And if I had to guess, I would assume that we're going to see the next Creed movie dedicated to him. Obviously, Creed is based on Apollo's son, and Apollo Creed plays heavily into those storylines. So I would assume we're going to hear something from Michael B. Jordan and some sort of a tribute in the next Creed film to him. Thoughts and prayers with the family and with everybody that knew him. It's a sad loss for sure. Sad loss.
It is.
Let's jump on over to the Mouse House, where, of course, the fight is still on. Here's the very latest on the Nelson Peltz versus Disney fight. Now, as we've told you on past shows, Peltz, through his Trian Partners hedge fund, is seeking to shake up the Disney board by installing himself and ex-Disney CFO Jay Rasalu as directors, a looming proxy fight that has aggravated CEO Bob Iger. Now, Peltz has identified the 2 Disney board members he wants removed, and here's the odd thing, guys. Bob Iger isn't one of them. He's coming at Bob, but he doesn't want to remove Bob. Now, Peltz has identified the 2 Disney board members as Michael Froman and Maria Elena Lagomasino. Let's go with that. Lagomasino. Now, Froman is president of the Council of Foreign Relations and former vice chairman and president strategic growth at MasterCard. Lagomasino is CEO and managing partner of WE Family Offices and a former senior executive at JP Morgan Private Bank and Chase Manhattan Bank. She's also current director of the Coca-Cola Company. Now, January 31st filing, Peltz's Trian appealed to Disney shareholders to vote against Froman and Lagomasino and instead vote himself and Rossolo in as directors. Now, per the filing, Trian is asking shareholders to withhold votes for Froman because he has no experience as a public company director outside of Disney and has spent most of the past 25 years of his career in fields which appear largely unrelated to Disney's businesses, working as a federal trade representative, a national security advisor, and a financial executive. Now, Trian noted that Froman has only one skill that is central to Disney's strategy, citing Disney's own proxy statement: brand, marketing, and retail management. Peltz had previously targeted Froman in Trian's short-lived proxy fight last year regarding Lagomasino. Trian said in that filing that her background in wealth management also appears largely unrelated to Disney's businesses, and like Mr. Froman, she only has one skill central to Disney's strategy: brand, marketing, and retail management. Now, the hedge fund continued. Furthermore, as a member of Disney's compensation committee since 2015 and its chair since 2019, Ms. Lagomasino has overseen a number of misaligned compensation practices, including the award of a massive compensation package to Mr. Iger in connection with the acquisition of the 21st Century Fox. More recently, the approval of a fiscal year 2023 compensation program that we believe fails to align the compensation of Disney executives with the company's financial and operational performance. In addition, according to Trian, both Froman and Lagomasino are Disney's governance and nominating committee, where they have overseen poor corporate governance and significant succession issues. Sounds like this guy doesn't like them. I mean, I'm just saying. Disney, of course, had no official statement, but they did reject that offer and are putting up their own people. So we're going to keep an eye on this, guys. I think, and if you caught our predictions video, you saw Bob's going to fight this all off. Everything's going to be fine, and Peltz is going to go away once again. Can't say that he won't come back again next year, but I think he's going to be out of there again this year and, go away.
Yeah, that's the thing.
As a shareholder, I'm simply saying, go away. I don't want you.
It's like that simple phrase: you can't go home, but you can't stay here.
Exactly.
Like, just please go somewhere else. It's so funny. Well, sticking with Disney and Marvel, Marvel's Thunderbolts is coming further into focus.
Ooh.
Gardlin Whistleton has joined the cast of the team-up film.
Sure.
Now, she is replacing Ayo Abduri from The Bear in an undisclosed role after the Emmy-winning The Bear star dropped out of the project due to scheduling. Now, Whistleton, I'm sure that's not how you say it.
Yeah, Viswanathan. Sure. Let's go with that.
Joins the ensemble massive cast of actors playing some of the Marvel Cinematic Universe's best-known anti-heroes, including Sebastian Stan, of course, as Bucky Barnes, Florence Pugh as Lena Belova, David Harbour as Red Guardian, Wyatt Russell as John Walker, and John Kamen as Ava Starr. Ogla Kulinko as Taskmaster, and Julia Louis-Dreyfus as Valentina Allegra de Fontaine. All
You
those
got that one,
specific,
yeah.
yeah, I know, right? But specific plot details remain top secret right now. The movie will effectively serve as Marvel's version of DC's anti-superhero film-up team, Suicide Squad, with the characters brought together to do the dirty jobs that the Avengers cannot do. Now, Ao is the second star to depart Thunderbolts in recent months. Stephen Yeun left in January with Lewis Pullman stepping in to replace him in the role, which was also undisclosed. So we don't even know what roles they're playing. But, I still feel like the people they are getting to replace the initial cast are still going to get the job done. You
Oh,
still
yeah.
have massive appeal with the characters that were already set in stone. So I think, they're not going to miss a beat with these.
No, I don't think so either. And I have no idea who she's playing. Rumors are quickly coming that Lewis Pullman is playing Sentry. So we'll see if those rumors are true. But hey, guess what, guys? I've got more good news out of Hell's Kitchen, Marvel fans. Last week, we told you that Deborah Ann Wall and Eldon Henson were returning as Karen Page and Foggy Nelson on Disney Plus's upcoming Daredevil Born Again. Well, the returns just keep on coming. It was announced this week that Wilson Bethel, who played Benjamin Poindexter, a.k.a. Bullseye, on Netflix's Daredevil, is also reprising his role for the new series. He is set to appear in 3 episodes of the series, which is now filming. Following a production pause in mid-June due to the writer's strike, of course, Marvel Studios implemented a creative overhaul of Daredevil Born Again, which follows the original star Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock, the blind attorney-turned-crime-fighting superhero known as Daredevil, of course, and also features Vincent D'Onofrio reprising the role as mob boss Wilson Fisk, a.k.a. Kingpin, and my man Johnny Bernthal returning as Frank Castle, a.k.a. The Punisher. Now, as part of all those changes, Dario Scarpadini from The Punisher replaced Matt Corman and Chris Ord as the showrunner. They also brought in Loki writers, so they got a whole bunch of stuff going on. Now, in case you hadn't heard, the cast of Daredevil Born Again also includes newcomers Margarita Lavia, Artie Frostman, Sanderline Hoot, Michael Gandolfini, and Nikki M. James. Love Nikki M. James. And there's rumors, Kristen Ritter, Jessica Jones, probably going to make an appearance. Just saying, has not been said yet, has not been confirmed yet. But, those Save Daredevil people usually know what they're talking about. And they seem pretty
really
sure. They seem pretty sure she's probably going to be on it. So we'll see.
Yeah, one of the best campaigns I've ever seen on social media, to be honest.
Yeah, hands down. They were single-handedly responsible for getting that show back.
Agreed.
And when they were going to kill off Karen and Foggy, they were like, no, fuck that. No. And Disney's like, fuck it, just bring them back. Those people are good, so they're powerful, and they love that character. So you keep going, Save Daredevil. You keep going.
Exactly. But it is official, everyone. The Disney Plus movie, Young Woman in the Sea, is getting a limited theatrical release on May 31st. This is after the Daisy Ridley movie tested in the high 90s. The Jeff Nathanson scripted drama chronicles a daring journey of the first woman to ever swim across the English Channel. Gertrude Trudy Elderly made the 21-mile swim in 1926. The daughter of a German butcher from Manhattan, Trudy was a competitive swimmer who won gold back in the 1924 Olympics when she decided to attempt crossing the channel. She undertook the feat after first swimming 22 miles from Battery Park in New York to Sandy Hook, New Jersey, setting a record that stood for 81 years. She contracted with 2 newspapers and sold her story, thus thereby financing her quest. There was actually a race among women who would be first to cross. Only 5 men had done it before. The movie also stars Tydla Cobham Hervey, Stephen Graham, Christopher Eccleston, and Jeanette Hayne. So an amazing cast. And I mean, I'm about to watch what's it called with Jodie Foster? It's an Oscar nominee. I think it's Nyam.
Yeah, Nyad. Like Nyad. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's very similar to this. So I'm excited for these things. They seem interesting.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, Naiad was a badass, and clearly this woman was a badass. And Daisy Ridley's awesome. I think she's going to do an
She
amazing
is.
job. And Disney loves her, guys. She is coming back as a Skywalker. I'm just saying,
If you didn't know.
that has officially been announced as well, and she seems to be pretty happy with the script. So can't wait for that one. All right, let's jump over to Fox. This one I have yet to jump on board. And I really want to because I have heard nothing but great stuff about this. And Elektra is the star of it from Daredevil. So I really got to jump on this one. Fox's The Cleaning Lady is bulking up its season 3 cast with the addition of Brandon J. McLaren from Snowfall, The Rookie, and Turner and Hooch. Like, so you remember him, the black guy, the partner, the funny one? That's him. He was amazing in that show. I love that. And JB Tadena, of who I work with, his cousin.
Nice.
Did you know that? I do. I had no idea, but yeah, I do. They're both joining the show in recurring roles. Season 3 will premiere Tuesday, March 5th on Fox at 8 p.m. Eastern. Now, McLaren will portray Jeremy Dolan, the guy we all wish we knew. He's charming, smart, affable, and can put anyone at ease, including Thony, which is played, of course, the lead by Elodie Young, Elektra, whom he has an instant connection with. Now, Jeremy enters the world of The Cleaning Lady as a contractor turned entrepreneur, building his business with a personal approach. His openness about his life and his carpentry skills keep Jeremy in Thony's orbit as she comes to rely on him for help. But below his trustworthy, charismatic facade lurks a sinister secret about his true character and a truth that will have dire consequences for all involved once they're revealed. Now, Tadena will portray Paolo Belzena, a fun-loving and charming guy with a breezy sense of humor and sexy confidence. Paolo owns and operates a Turo Turo food stall in Manila, where he is loved by his community and has an intimate connection with the De La Rosa family. Now, Fox promises the stakes are higher than ever in Season 3 of the hit series and more intense than ever. Ooh. I don't know. I want to jump on this one, though. I keep seeing it, and I keep seeing the promos for it, and I'm like, why am I not watching this? I got to give it at least a shot. I got to.
For sure, man. For sure. I've heard nothing but good things, to
Yeah,
be honest.
yeah.
So, I mean, we shall see. We shall see. Well, hopping over to the bunny, Warner Brothers Discovery, DC Studios has found its Supergirl. Millie Atlock, who played the young Rhaenyra Targaryen in the first season of HBO's House of the Dragon, will play the Woman of Steel in the new DC universe, spearheaded by James Gunn and Peter Safran. Atlock beat out Meg Donnelly, who starred in Disney Channel's hit musical franchise Zombies, and who voices the character in recent and current DC animated movies. So that's interesting how she beat her out. I would have figured she would have had an advancement on that one.
Right?
The two actresses screen tested for the role in Atlanta last week. Now, DC studio bosses James Gunn and Peter Safran were present at the screenings. Now, Supergirl is a key part of Gunn and Safran's plans as they piece together their slate of DC studios. Supergirl will headline her own movie, Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, after being introduced in Gunn's own Superman movie, Superman Legacy. Now, that project, however, does not yet have a director, and Anya Nogueira from The Vampire Diaries was just hired to write the screenplay back in November. Now, in the 2022 comic book run of Woman of Tomorrow, rather than escape from planet Krypton as an infant before it explodes, like her cousin Kal-El, Kara grows up witnessing her home planet's destruction until she's 14. And when she arrives on Earth, until she's 14, when she arrives on Earth. That makes the character much more hardcore and intense, if you get my drift. Gunn explained in 2023 when presenting the first 10 titles in the new DCU slate, she is not exactly the Supergirl we're used to seeing. Alcock will be in good company as Supergirl, aka Kara Zor-El, has been played several times in the last few years, including Melissa Benoist in CBS's CW series Supergirl, which ran for 6 seasons, and by Sasha Calle in 2023's feature film The Flash. So, like I said, I mean, I really don't have any problems with either of those Supergirls. So it'll be interesting to see if she joins the legends who have already played Supergirl.
Yeah, I'm excited for this. I think she was good casting, and apparently it must have been very, very close because I just saw a recent report that Gunn is looking to offer the other Connolly some sort of a role in the DC universe that he's building.
Nice.
So he must have been like, damn, that's like so close, but we got to get her in here somehow. So I'm betting she's going to show up as somebody in the DC universe, which is good because I love that. And thank you for clarifying that Supergirl is going to show up in Superman Legacy. I've been seeing a lot of stuff on Twitter and social media about people, and I'm not even going to call these people out. I'm just going to say that you're not aware of how the industry works. They're saying, how can you even be casting Supergirl? There's not even a director attached. Doesn't the director cast the people? Yes, the director is involved in the casting of people along with the casting director. But the reason that James Gunn was present and cast Supergirl and not the director of the Supergirl movie is because, as Logan said, Supergirl will be appearing in Superman Legacy first. And he is the director of that film, hence picking the character. So that is why he chose who was going to play her and who will be moving forward in the solo movie. Just to clear up any confusion for anybody out there who didn't understand how that was working. All right?
And like a prime example of that would be, the Russos and Kevin Feige picking Brie Larson and filming Avengers Endgame before Captain Marvel, the first one, even came out.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Yep. That's exactly how it goes. All right, this one I'm super excited about. We thought a deal was coming. Apparently a deal is done, and I'm super excited about this. Superman, a documentary about the life of Christopher Reeve, has closed the deal with Warner Brothers Discovery valued at around $15 million, giving the studio worldwide rights to the pick. Now, which was one of course, the most buzzed about titles of this year's Sundance Film Festival. Now, Warner Brothers Discovery's DC Studios, Warner Brothers Motion Pictures, HBO, CNN Films, and Max all jointly sought out the project and now apparently will all collaborate on the film's global release across theatrical and home viewing release windows. So that basically means you're going to see it fucking everywhere, which I love. Now, Superman's deal with the studio was natural, given that it's the home of the Superman films, which shot Reeve to stardom before, of course, his tragic horse riding accident that left him a quadriplegic, dependent upon a ventilator to breathe. Now, James Gunn, the co-head of Warner-owned DC Studios, is currently reviving the character, as we just told you, in the upcoming Superman Legacy, which he wrote and will direct. Now, heading into the festival circuit this year, guys, Superman was expected to be one of the biggest sales coming out of the event's 40th edition. Before the movie was even screened in Park City for audiences and buyers, several studios and streamers were already planning to bid aggressively to land the rights. Tom Quinn's specialty studio, Neon, was another enthusiastic bidder, while Netflix also looked at the film, and according to two individuals with knowledge of the sale, were pretty close. But Warner Brothers Discovery came through. They got it, which it only makes sense. They own DC. They launched Chris. It's I'm super excited about this because this documentary not only dives into Superman, but like it says, Superman, highlighting Christopher's extraordinary life and what an incredible man he was before and after the accident. And it's going to be amazing. I'm super, he is my Superman. Obviously, he's the man who inspired me to be a filmmaker. I'm pumped about this one and I can't wait to watch it. You were right. I know you posted something on social media about that and you are exactly right. I am super pumped to see this one.
Well, and I mean, if they do indeed release it theatrically, like they're saying they're wanting to, this may be my first ever documentary that I've seen in theaters.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a documentary in theaters?
I have not. So this is going to be really, and what a one, right? Full circle.
I know, right?
Full circle. If the first documentary I'm going to see is going to be basically the first film I ever saw as a kid in a theater that made me want to be a filmmaker. So I can't think of a better way to do that. So, and wherever they're showing it in a theater, I'm fucking going to. If I have to drive, fly, wherever, I'm going to it and seeing it in a theater. Just know.
For sure. Well, The Nightmare Before Christmas creator Tim Burton and Gone Girl writer Gillian Flynn are tackling a remake of Attack of the 50-Foot Woman for Warner
What?
Brothers. I saw this and I thought this was so freaking goofy. Burton is directing the upcoming film from a script by Flynn. Now, the science fiction horror story follows wealthy heiress who grows into a giant after an alien encounter and exacts revenge on her cheating husband.
Sure.
It's unclear how closely this new take will follow the original 1958 movie. Now, starring Allison Hayes, William Hudson, and Yvette Vickers, the first film reportedly carried a budget of 88,000. This will probably be just nowhere near that.
Yeah, no.
So it's reasonable to assume that the remake will have a slightly
Yeah,
higher
you
price tag.
probably.
In addition to directing, Burton is producing Attack of the 50-Foot Woman with Andrew Mittman and Tommy Harper. The project reteams Burton and Warner Brothers, where he is currently working on a sequel to the 1988 movie Beetlejuice. So that's going to be very exciting. And I really think I might have to go see this just to see if it's good or not. Because I feel like it could either be kind of decent or really bad. So we'll see.
I think you're right. And I think I'm always hopeful with Burton because he always kind of delivers when you think that he won't. And speaking of Beetlejuice, the sequel has landed an official title. So nice, they named it twice. Beetlejuice 2024 AD. That's right. Beetlejuice.
Clever.
Yeah, don't say it the third time. Don't say it. Just Beetlejuice, right? A new poster was also released, which says on the bottom, I dare you to say it a third time because it's Beetlejuice. I love it. It's great marketing. The title and the poster were announced on Warner Brothers and the sequel's social media. The film comes out on September 6th, the post-Labor Day box office horror launchpad weekend made famous by the Burbank lot with, of course, its It and Nun franchises. Now, the original 1988 movie from Burton grossed $75 million domestically and forged his creative collaboration with Michael Keaton, with the two re-teaming shortly after that on, of course, Batman and Batman Returns. Now, Beetlejuice reunites Keaton with the Pic's original cast members, Winona Ryder and Catherine O'Hara. Joining in the mix this time around, though, are Wednesday star Jenna Ortega, Willem Dafoe, Monica Bellucci, and Justin Theroux. Willem Dafoe is going to be a scary motherfucker. He's just a scary-looking dude anyway, so I can't imagine what they're going to make him be in Beetlejuice, but I'm already terrified. I'm just saying.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, it's gonna be very interesting. I'm excited. I mean, that cast, I think it's gonna be really
You've seen the original, right?
I have.
Okay, yeah.
I had it on VHS. So yeah, that was definitely a blueprint. That was on a blueprint. Heading over to Paramount, The I, Elspeth, the spinoff of The Good Wife, coming to CBS on February 29th, has set a list of guest stars, including Jane Kowalski, Linda Lavin, Retta, and Blair Underwood.
Yeah.
They joined previously announced guest stars Jesse Tyler Ferguson, and the series follows Elspeth Tasconi, who's played by Carrie Preston, an astute but unconventional attorney who makes unique observations and corners brilliant criminals alongside the NYPD. Now, after leaving her successful legal career in Chicago to tackle new investigative roles in New York City, Elspeth finds herself jockeying with Captain C.W. Wagner, who's played by Wendell Pierce, a charismatic and revered leader. Working alongside Elspeth is Officer Kaya Blanc, who's played by Kara Patterson, a stoic and ethical officer who quickly develops an appreciation for Elspeth's insightful and offbeat ways. Now, Kowalski from 30 Rock and Ally McBeal will play Joanne, a high-powered Manhattan real estate broker with huge clients and even bigger secrets. Now, Linda Lavin from Alice, who guest starred on 3 episodes of The Good Wife, will appear in Elspeth as Gloria, who is described as a co-op board president from hell. Now,
yes.
Rita from Parks and Recreation and Good Girls will play Margot, the top matchmaker of two New York's rich and impossible to please. Underwood from LA Law and Quantino will play the father and coach of a rising tennis star so dedicated to his son's career that he makes a murderous mistake.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Bum, bum,
Dun,
bum.
dun, dun. Well, I'm so excited about that show. You know, I talk about it all. I love Carrie Preston, and I was a huge fan of The Good Wife, of The Good Fight, of which Elsbeth made appearances on The Good Fight as well. I thought she was the most brilliant written character that I've ever seen just come out of nowhere in a television show. And I'm so stoked for her that it caught on with everybody as much as it caught on with me, and that she's getting her own show, because that character is quirky as fuck. And Carrie Preston plays her brilliantly. I'm so fucking excited about that. Now, jumping over, talk about the loyalty of a guy with another guy. This is amazing. Taylor Sheridan's upcoming Paramount Plus drama series, Landman, is rounding out its cast. Kayla Wallace, James Jordan, Mark Colley, and Paulina Chavez are all joining our set as series regulars alongside previously announced leads Billy Bob Thornton, Michelle Randolph, and Jacob Laughlin. Now, James Jordan, you know the one you've seen at Yellowstone, the prison show. Why can't I think of the
Mayor of Kingstown?
Yes, Mayor of Kingstown. And then he was just in the new one with well, holy shit. Why I'm going blank on everything. Lioness.
There you go.
Anyway, he's in everything the man has ever made. He's in it. He was even in the movies that I just watched. He was in the movies that Taylor. Loyalty, man. It's unreal. But anyway, this one sounds interesting. Now, it was co-created, of course, by Sheridan. Landman is set in the proverbial boom towns of West Texas and is a modern-day tale of fortune-seeking in the world of oil rigs. The series is an upstairs-downstairs story of roughnecks and wildcat billionaires fueling a boom so big it's reshaping our climate, our economy, and our geopolitics. Now, Thornton stars as Tommy Norris, a crisis manager for an oil company. Randolph plays Ainsley Norris, the wild and strong-willed 17-year-old daughter of Tommy Norris. Laughlin portrays Cooper Norris, Tommy Norris's son. Kayla Wallace plays Rebecca Savage, an extremely capable and intimidating liability attorney sent to West Texas to clean up a mess. Jordan portrays Dale Bradley, a petroleum engineer and blue-collar bear of a man who manages and works with roughnecks in the oil fields. He's also Tommy's roommate. Now, Colley is Sheriff Joburg, a West Texas sheriff. Chavez will play Ariana, the young mother whose family has suffered a misfortune. This is going to be great because everything he does is great, and it's going to be a hit for Paramount. That's why they keep loading them up with Taylor Sheridan shows. Why doesn't he just buy Paramount? It's up for sale. Everybody's trying to get it. Fuck, Taylor, just buy it. It's your fucking network already anyway. I mean, damn.
I love it. I know it's a little bit controversial, but I've said it before on the show. I like the JRE, Joe Rogan experience, and Taylor Sheridan was just on there having a conversation with Joe. It's like a 3-hour conversation, very insightful about who the man is and who he is as a person and how he, comes to spark these ideas. So if anyone's interested in it, if you can get past all of Joe Rogan's bullshit. There it is for you. There it is. Well, heading over to NBCUniversal with a single mom who has 2 jobs, who loves her kids and doesn't stop. Reba McEntire is returning to the sitcom world and reuniting with the team behind her the last 2 comedies as well. Now, NBC has given a pilot order to an untitled multi-camera comedy starring McEntire, who will also executive produce, of course, the show. From Universal Studio Group's Universal TV division stars McEntire as a woman who inherits her father's restaurant and is less than thrilled to discover that she has a new business partner and the half-sister she never knew she had. That sounds interesting. Kevin Abbott is the writer and executive producer, while Michael Hannell, Mindy Schultheus, and Julia Abbott are non-writing executive producers. It's a reunion for most of the group who previously worked together on McEntire's signature series on the WB, Reba. And if you guys don't know the theme song I was mouthing, it's from Reba.
Yes.
As well as her follow-up sitcom for ABC, Malibu Country. Hanel and Salutius were executive producers for the entire run of Reba, while Abad joined after the show's first year. Now, Hanel and Shatulis also executive produced the full run of Malibu Country, while Abad executive produced several episodes as well. Now, most recently, McIntyre has played June as a recurring role on Young Sheldon.
Mm-hmm.
She also appeared in season 3 of ABC's Big Sky as Sunny Barnes and starred in Lifetime's movie Reba McEntire's The Hammer,
Oh.
in which she also reunited with Reba co-stars Melissa Peterman. Now, of course, McIntyre is also a judge on NBC's The Voice, which she joined last fall. So she is a busy gal, man. She's rocking and rolling.
I mean, killing it, and she's no spring chicken either. So she's like getting it done. I mean, that's. I think that's going to make a lot of people.
She stuck her big toe in it. Like, what other country phrases can we?
Right. Like, listen though, I think that's going to make a lot of people happy because the Reba show on the WB was like a fucking mass hit. I mean, that had a massive cult following, so I think, everybody's going to be happy about that. Speaking of a massive cult following, I was an OG on the show, but now it's huge because of Peacock. And
every time.
I have to say it. I was watching Suits before people knew what Suits was, okay? So fuck Anyway, the Suits spinoff, Suits LA, we're getting a whole lot more juicy stuff about it. It has officially landed a pilot order at NBCUniversal. Production is scheduled to start in late March in Vancouver. Now, the new iteration, we finally know, will follow Ted Black, a former federal prosecutor from New York who has reinvented himself representing the most powerful clients in Los Angeles. His firm is at a crisis point, and in order to survive, he must embrace a role he held in contempt his entire life. Ted is surrounded by a stellar group of characters who test their loyalties to both Ted and each other, while they can't help but mix their personal and professional lives. Now, all of this is going on while events from years ago slowly unravel that led Ted to leave behind everything and everyone that he loved. Now, the original series, of course, ran for 9 seasons from 2011 to 2019 on USA Network, but has recently regained popularity with all you youngins out there as the first 8 seasons were added to Netflix. Now, when accounting streams on Netflix and Peacock, which has all 9 seasons, by the way, which also hosts another Suits spinoff, Pearson, the series regained over the Nielsen streaming top 10 for several months and ultimately breaking the record for the most ever #1 appearances on Nielsen's chart. Now, of course, Gabriel Macht, Patrick J. Adams, Rick Hoffman, Meghan Markle, Gina Torres, who did star in that short-lived Pearson spinoff, Sarah Rafferty, among others, starred in the flagship series, though none of the original cast is attached to the spinoff as of yet, and NBC hasn't named who's going to play Ted. We don't know yet. We know he's going to be Ted, but we don't know who's going to play Ted yet. Now, Suits creator, we do know, Aaron Kors, serves as writer and executive producer, and film and TV helmer Victoria Mahoney was just recently tapped to direct the show. So, and just for anybody out there into it, Patrick J. Adams said he's completely down for reviving Mike to make an appearance. Because, Mike is up there in San Francisco real close. You just fly right down. If you guys know anything about the show, come on, you newbie fans. Remember, it ended with him going to San Francisco. Along with Harvey and Donna. And they can all come down. They just come to L.A. I bet if we see the show struggle early, they all make appearances.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just going to call that now. If the show is struggling, the OGs will make appearances. There's no doubt about it. That's just...
they're backing up the Brinks truck, man.
Which Gabriel Macht made perfectly clear would have to happen.
Exactly. But everybody knows it's hard out here for a pimp. Terrence Howard and Taraji P. Henson are set to star opposite of Kevin Hart and Samuel L. Jackson in a Peacock limited series, Fight Night, the $1 Million Heist.
Yes.
Now, the project reunites Howard and Henson with Craig Brewer, who will direct and executive produce the first 2 episodes of the series. Now, of course, the trio previously worked together in Brewer's 2005 feature film, Hustle and Flow, in which Howard starred, earning an Oscar nomination for his performance, and on Fox's series Empire, also starring Howard and Henson. Obviously, they have a good working relationship.
For sure.
On which Brewer was director / producer. Now, Howard will play the series' regular role of Richard Cadillac Wheeler, a gangster and associate of the Council of 12. Now, Henson will play Vivian Thomas, a savvy businesswoman and Chicken Man's Kevin Hart's mistress. Set in Atlanta, Fight Night will tell the infamous story of how an armed robbery during the night of Muhammad Ali's historic 1970s comeback fight changed not only one man's life, but an entire city's destiny. It centers on the hustler at the center of the robbery and the detective, one of the first Black Atlanta police officers to the rise to that rank, tasked with solving it. This sounds freaking amazing. Amazing cast. And I mean, yeah, I'm pumped for that one.
I mean, come on, seriously? You got Kevin Hart, Samuel L. Jackson, and then fucking Terrence Howard and Taraji. Are you fucking kidding me? That's gonna be like badass. Did I ever tell you this? I don't know if I ever told you this, but when Hustle and Flow was filming in Memphis, you guys know my background. We worked in television. I worked in news for a long time. I was working at the Fox affiliate when that was filming, and they came in. They did an interview on the morning show, and I actually got to meet Terrence and Taraji and Craig Brewer. What an amazing day that was. They were so gracious and so amazing and so lovely. They were all just very generous, nice people, and I was starstruck. Before I was really in the industry and all that, so I was like, oh, hello, this is awesome. Yeah, it was really cool. So I'm glad they all clearly have a really good working relationship. Craig Brewer with them as well. So that's going to be amazing. One little last thing I just saw come across that I want to throw into the NBCUniversal news. Sam Waterston, a.k.a. for all of us Law and Order fans out there, Jack McCoy, DA Jack McCoy, leaving the show. That's right. The longest tenured Law and Order actor is leaving. He's going to make it to the February 22nd episode, and then he's out of there, being replaced by Tony Goldwyn. I can't imagine Law and Order without Jack McCoy. It's like it's like he's been there literally since I was 24 years old. And I'm not going to say how long ago that was, but it's a long fucking time. So now Mariska will officially be the longest tenured Law and Order actor. But yeah, it just kind of came out of nowhere. I thought he was signed for the whole season, but apparently not. He's making an exit in a couple of weeks. And Tony Goldwyn, I mean, I love Tony Goldwyn. He's coming in as the new DA. There's no details on how they're doing it, why Jack is leaving, or what's going to happen, but there it is. I know a lot of Law and Order fans are going to be sad. I mean, you know, started off as ADA and head ADA and then DA. Jack McCoy, gone.
Jack McCoy. It is crazy. It is crazy. I'm actually glad you brought that up so I could have this next story because I'm fucking amazed and super happy about it. Sony, Quentin Tarantino will be
I know why.
Third time with Brad Pitt in the director's final film, The Movie Critic. Now, it's unclear if Pitt will play the title character, but let's just say we think he is. Last time out, Pitt won Best Supporting Actor for 2019's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and he also starred in Tarantino's Inglourious Bastards as well. Now, Sony Pictures will likely be back as the studio distributing the film, with Stacey Shear producing. Now, the film is eyeing a 2025 release date. Now, Tarantino has been I was really about to say circumcised.
No, we don't know that. If you know that, I'm not going to ask you how you know that. Circumspect on the last movie, but he said he has the movie that was set in California the year of the film's release, which was 1977. Yes.
And that is based on a guy who really lived but was never really famous. And he used to write movie reviews for a porno magazine. So that's going to be very interesting.
There's never a script that Tarantino does that's not interesting. I mean, this guy just pulls him out of there. And he said he was inspired by his time at the video store reloading porn movies and putting them back on the shelf. I'm like, okay, bro, whatever. And for all of you listeners, fans, watchers, followers out there, we will do our very best to find out and or confirm whether Quentin is or is not circumcised. Quentin,
Right.
let us know, buddy. Come on, let us know.
Oh,
we gotta
we'll
wait.
look into
Now
it.
we need
We'll
to
look
know.
into it.
Now it's out there. Now we need to know. Did he get chopped? Did he not? We don't know. Amy Adams is in negotiations. Love Amy Adams to co-star alongside Jenna Ortega. Wow. Jenna Ortega, where are you
Everywhere.
not? What?
Everywhere.
This girl is like slaying. Oh my God, it's like every news story we talk about, she's in it. It's incredible.
Well, we know where she's not. She's not in the next Scream movie.
That's right. That's true. That is true. Correct. That is correct. But she is gonna star in this one, and apparently Amy Adams is in negotiations to star with her in Sony 3000 Pictures' Clara and the Sun, which Taika Waititi is set to direct. Now, based on Kuzo Ishiguro's New York Times best-selling novel, the film is being produced by Heyday Films, David Heyman, Garrett Bash, and, of course, Waititi. Now, Ishiguro is an executive producer. Now, Clara and the Sun tells the story of Clara, who, of course, will be played by Jenna Ortega, an artificial friend. Artificial friend, okay? AF. She's an AF. Designed to prevent loneliness. Now, Clara is purchased by a mother who, if negotiations work out, will be played by Amy Adams, and a bright teen named Josie who adores her new robot companion but suffers from a mysterious illness. Now, this is the story of Clara's quest to save Josie and those who love her from heartbreak, and how in the process, Clara learns the power of human love. After landing Waititi's commitment right before the WGA strike last spring, 3000 Pictures made this priority once both strikes had been resolved, aiming high for 2 stars for the Clara and Mother role. Now, once a deal closes for Adams, production is expected to start in the next few weeks. So I think they're going to close the deal. I think it's going to be interesting. And Amy Adams and Jenna Ortega as Mother and this AF.
Robot thing.
That's going to be interesting, right? Like,
Those movies are always so interesting,
Right?
I mean, you had that Robin Williams one where he was like a robot and there's a
that
forget
was
it's
what
called.
Centennial, Bicentennial
Something
Man,
like-
Bicentennial
yeah.
Man. I think that's what it was. Yeah, something like that.
But yeah, they're always so interesting and always a little uncomfortable for some reason. But I mean, it kind of sounds like Megan if you're not a horror movie.
Yeah.
So-
Except this one is trying to save lives, and of course, Megan was trying to take them.
Yep, exactly. But we're heading over to Lionsgate. Nathan Fillion is expanding his producing role, announcing the launch of his production company, Collision 33, which has inked a first look deal with Lionsgate. Now, Collision 33 was formed by Fillion and his longtime manager and producing partner, Michelle Chapman. Industry veteran Josh Levy is set to head up development for the company and will play a pivotal role in shaping the direction of Collision 33. Now, before joining Fillion and Chapman, Levy held positions at Fairfield Productions, Boom Studios, and the Jackal Group. He has most recently served as executive producer on Disney Plus's Turner and Hooch and CBS's True Lies, while leading development for Matt Nick's Flying Glass of Milk Productions. Now, Lionsgate, which acquired the global content platform E1 back in December, said it looks forward to collaborating with Fillion. Now, heading into its 6th season, Fillion stars on ABC's hit show The Rookie, which he and Chapman executive produced. The duo also served as executive producers for the series spinoff The Rookie's Beds. Now, Fillion's on-screen role extends to films where he will next appear in DC Superman's Legacy and take on the role of Guy Gardner in one iteration of the superhero Green Lantern.
Yes.
So that is all very exciting. But yeah, I mean, the real thing I take away from this story is us as filmmakers come up with some random ass production company names.
Oh
don't
yeah,
we?
right. Like, I'm sure there's a story behind it, but
always has to be.
there has to be. I don't know. Super pumped about this one because I love her. She's amazing and underrated. She's right there. She's my female John Bernthal. Highly underrated and should be winning award after award. I'm of course talking about the lovely, the one, the awesome Lauren Graham. Lorelai herself has boarded Lionsgate and Kingdom Story Company's upcoming holiday theatrical release, the best Christmas pageant ever. The feature takes on Barbara Robinson's classic book under the direction of Dallas Jenkins' recently wrapped production. Now, the pick hits theaters on November 15th. Now, in addition, some cast members from Jenkins' The Chosen series also joined the film, including Kirk B.R. Waller, Vanessa Bienventi, and Elizabeth Tabish. Now, Graham will play the film's narrator in addition to making a key on-screen cameo. Waller, Beneventi, and Tabish respectively play Reverend Hopkins, a first-grade teacher, and church lady Mrs. Grady. Now, Peru native Benevali played Mother Mary in The Chosen, while Tabish portrayed Mary Magdalene. The family comedy also stars Judy Greer as Grace, the director of the pageant, and Pete Holmes as her husband Bob. Anything with Judy Greer, she's fantastic. And then you throw in Lauren Graham, hello, winner. It's going to be good.
Right. Exactly. Well, heading over to Amazon MGM Studios, Bryce Dallas Howard and Orlando Bloom are leading the all-star cast of Prime Video's UK original movie Deep Cover. Now, the British action comedy will feature Sean Bean from Game of Thrones, Nick Mohammed from Ted Lasso, Ian McShane from John Wick, Patty Constantine from Game of Thrones, and Sonia Mizono from Maniac and House of the Dragon. Now, according to its official description, Deep Cover sees 3 improv actors hired by the police to help stage low-level stings. Their instinct to always say yes without breaking character leads them deep inside the London criminal underworld. Now, production is set to begin February 5th in London. While a release date has not yet been set, Deep Cover will premiere exclusively on Prime Video in more than 240 countries and territories worldwide. That sounds good. I'm excited for that.
Right? I like the idea of improv actors being brought in because they don't break character and they can ad-lib. I mean, that's an awesome undercover gig. That sounds really cool. Jumping over on to Netflix. You want this one? I know you want this one.
I was
you can totally take it. Take
Please,
it.
I appreciate it. At Netflix, that's right. The comedian, the machine, Bert Kreischer is sticking with Netflix as all other comedians are, signing with the streamer to film 2 more stand-up comedy specials.
Yeah.
This represents his 4th and 5th specials for Kreischer at just Netflix. Now, Razzle Dazzle came out in 2023, Hey Big Boy in 2020, and Secret Time in 2018. Now, the first of 2 specials will be filmed by Kreischer at the Mahaffey Theater in St. Petersburg, Florida. I already looked to see how far it was, and it's too far. It's about 8 hours. But
yeah, it's about 8 hours.
On July 6th, it's a homecoming of sorts for Kreischer, who grew up nearby in Tampa, where he most recently sold out the Amelia Arena in February of 2023. Now, Kreischer's Florida bona fides include attending Florida State, where he was infamously dubbed as the #1 partier in the nation by Rolling Stone magazine in 1997. Now, Kreischer will executive produce the new specials along with Leanne Kreischer, his wife, Judy Marmel, Tony Hernandez, Jeff Tosmick, and Jordan Levy. Now, Tosmick is also the director, while Kreischer's Birdie Boy Productions is behind the specials. The comedian is currently on the road with his Tops Off World Tours, hitting the U.S. and Canada, Europe, Australia, and New Zealand. Be sure to check out tickets at BertBertBert.com. And I know that because I listen to his podcast every single week. So be sure to check out tickets at BertBertBert.com, where you can check out dates and all the good things. But yes, one of my favorite comedians.
Yeah, you know, an 8-hour drive is only a 45-minute flight. So, and they have hopper flights from your location to Florida. They have little like $49, $79 hopper flights, my man. You could just like, boom, 45 minutes, go see. I know. I'm just throwing it out there because I know you want to see them. I'm just telling you.
Oh, for sure.
Hey, you know what else I want to know? What the fuck is going on with Harry and Meghan? What's going on? There's been a lot of speculation as to whether the future of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's deal with Netflix is in jeopardy. Is it? Right. Is it not? We don't know. You know what's fueling that? Their recent appearance at the premiere of Bob Marley One Love in Jamaica. And why were they there? Because they were reportedly invited by Paramount Pictures CEO Brian Robbins. Uh-oh. There's been much talk as to whether the duo would continue working with Netflix, or are they looking to jump to Paramount? Well, they're not. Because Netflix Chief Content Officer Bella Baharia seemed to quell all those doubts by teasing a few more royal projects in the works from the pair, who signed an overall deal, of course, back in 2020. Now, according to Baharia, she revealed at a Netflix Slate event that the couple have a movie in development, a scripted series that they're working on, and a couple of unscripted shows that they're also working on. Baharia didn't disclose what any of these projects were, but last year, the duo who run Archwell Productions acquired the screen rights to Carly Fortune's Meet Me at the Lake novel to turn into a movie. Now, it tells the story of a couple who meet in their 30s and deals with themes of childhood trauma, including losing a parent in a car crash. Harry, you want to be doing... No.
Yeah,
that kind of
right?
brings it right home hard, doesn't it? Mental health challenges and postnatal depression. Now, the Harry and Meghan docuseries, of course, from the couple launched in December of 2022 with 6 episodes, was huge for fucking Netflix, if you don't remember that. They also made Live to Lead, an interview series featuring the likes of Greta Thunberg and Gloria Steinem, and, of course, Harry's Heart of Invictus documentary series that launched last year. So it looks like they're fine. It looks like they're still all hunky-dory with Netflix. They're not going anywhere, at least for a little bit, you know? But we're seeing it all the time with studios where you're making co-deals where you can produce for one studio and another. Look, Paramount just let the golden boy Tom Cruise do that with Warner Brothers.
It's true.
Maybe Netflix is going to let the royal duo there do something with Paramount. Who knows? Who knows? I don't know.
I definitely feel like the ball is in the creator's court. Right?
Without
the
doubt.
Studio, I feel like, is very patiently waiting on any creators that will come their way, and this is for any studio.
Yeah.
So it'll be very interesting to see how everybody navigates that.
For sure.
Well, heading over to Apple Original Films is in talks to pick up a package for a dramatic thriller, The Lost Bus, that has a star of Matthew McConaughey.
All right.
And director Paul Greengrass circling. Brad Inglesby from Mayor of Easttown wrote the script for Lost Bus based on Lizzie Johnson's 2021 fact-based book Paradise, One Town Struggled to Survive an American Wildfire. That takes place amid California's Camp Fire in 2018, which became the deadliest blaze in the state's history. The film story follows bus driver Kevin McKay and teacher Mary Ludwig, who heroically helped lead a school bus full of students through the wildfire that devastated the town of Paradise. The Lost Bus hails from Jamie Lee Curtis, Comet Pictures, and Jason Blum's Blumhouse. Producers include Inglesbury and Greg Goodman, while Johnson and Amy Lord serve as executive producers. The movie kicked off after Curtis heard Johnson on NPR and took the project to Blumhouse, where the Oscar winner has a first look deal. Now, The Lost Bus marks the latest collaboration for McConaughey and Apple TV Plus, following New Year's last year. The news last year that he and Woody Harrelson are set to star in a comedy series from creator David West Reed for the platform. I mean, with that many big people behind it, how could you not be excited for that thing?
Yeah, it sounds amazing. It sounds amazing. You know what else sounds amazing? And I'm going to get to this before somebody takes the show away from us in a hijack, maybe. It's good news for fans of Idris Elba's nail-biting limited series Hijack. Apple TV Plus has confirmed that Elba is set to return as negotiator Sam Nelson, a second season of the high-octane drama, which quickly became one of the streamer's top shows when it dropped last year. Now, told almost in real time, the series follows Nelson on a 7-hour plane ride from Dubai to London, which is hijacked by terrorists. A seasoned negotiator, Nelson quickly steps in to try to defuse the situation before anyone gets killed, but soon realizes there is more to the hijackers' plot than first seems. Now, Archie Panjabi, speaking of, from The Good Wife, Christine Adams, Max Beasley, Ben Miles also starred in that bad boy. Idris will return to executive produce the show alongside creators George Kay and Jim Field Smith's company Idiot Lamp Productions, there's another interesting name. Field Smith is on board as lead director for the series. Now, no plot details for the new season have been revealed yet. Yeah, I'm curious about that, because how do you do a season 2 of Hijacked? I mean,
Seriously, I mean, I know both of us watched it, and it was a great show, but yeah, how do you do a second season?
I don't
It
know.
was great, but yeah, that's wow.
Yeah. I guess every time he gets on a plane, it's gonna be like Grey's Anatomy. Something fucking tragic is gonna happen. Shit,
Yeah,
we're
he's
hijacked again.
By the end of season 2, he's gonna be like, I'm never doing this again.
Exactly.
I'm never.
Every time I'm fucking hijacked. I don't know. Maybe it won't be on a. Maybe it'll be on a bus or a boat or something. Maybe it's not on a plane this time.
Something different.
Yeah.
You know. That's so funny. But anyway, guys, it is time for our guest interview, and we have the one and only Azaria Carter coming on to talk about her role on NBC's Found. And man, like we talked about, we don't not only just talk about Found, but she is just such an amazing, lightful, amazing person. You know, to be able to come from, you know, all of these different backgrounds to where she's at today. It takes a lot, and I think, you know, her story is going to move people and inspire people.
Oh, without doubt. And I think one of the most inspiring things that she says throughout this interview is when we talk about, if you've watched Found, you know, it's very intense, it's very dark, and her scenes opposite Sir Mark Paul Gosselaar are like crazy hardcore intense. And I think what you just said about her and her upbringing and her life and the things that she's gone through and how she approaches it with that exuberance and those smiles and just that good, that's what gets her through. As she talks about, that's how she's got it on her shoulder, she says. Put it on your shoulder, get it out there, and then walk away from it. It's such great advice for anybody trying to get into the industry, not only about acting in the industry, but life and how to just get it off your shoulder if something's bothering you. Just a charming young woman and just an amazing interview. This is a good one, y'all. This is a really good one.
For sure. Well, here she is.
Azaria Carter, welcome inside the Crazy Ant Farm. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Oh, we are living the dream as always, and we are super excited to talk to you. We are huge fans of the show, and we are going to talk all about the show. We're so excited about that. I've got some theories. I've got some stuff. I mean, I think everybody out there does, but you know, the finale. Got to talk about that finale. But yeah, we are pumped. You are just an amazing young actress, and you're just getting it done. So we were so excited to have the opportunity to talk to you. I just know our listeners are going to love this interview. How we normally like to start this bad boy off is to talk about how you kind of got started in the industry, doing our research a little bit. I think it was music is where you were initially headed, and then somehow we got over to acting, which we're glad you did. But I'm guessing you haven't abandoned music and dancing yet, though. But talk about it. So how did it all go? How'd the path get started?
Ooh, y'all. So in the beginning, all right.
I love it. In the beginning. I love it.
But in the beginning, I wanted to be a Beyonce. Okay, I was going to be Beyonce. And that's what I had in mind. And so I started actually taking vocal lessons with my vocal coach still, Victoria Wilson. And, you know, I was just getting into it. So, and this is a lot, everybody, it's so surprised when I say this, but I was very shy when I was younger. So she had suggested that I take, you know, acting lessons just to help, you know, my stage presence. Because she was like, acting and singing go hand in hand. That's performance. And so she actually introduced me to Rob Demery at Red Light Arts. And so I started taking acting lessons with him first. And that was strictly just to get me out of that shy, timid stage of my career. Because she was just trying to, you know, get me out of that. And so when I started actually taking acting lessons with him, I don't know what happened, but I felt like I was supposed to be there. I don't know. Like, I felt like, I'm like, oh my gosh. Because I never thought about acting. I really didn't. Like, I don't know why. Because I always grew up with my dad. He always played like Michael Jackson and everybody. So I grew up with music. That's what I grew up with. And so I never thought about, I could actually be an actor. But I never thought about that. So when she suggested that and I started going to Rob Demery, that's when I fell in love with acting. I literally did. I felt like I belonged because I was always that kid. Even though I was shy when I was younger, I was very, as people will say, I was extra loud. And it's because I had so much, I guess you would say, like, personality inside of me.
Yeah.
And I wanted to put it somewhere. And so acting gave me that avenue to do that.
For sure.
Ever since then, I've been trucking at it. So
I love that, though. I mean, we all need, as human beings, like, take away the career part, take away the acting, the lights, the glamour, all the fun stuff, take all that stuff away. And you want to grow as an individual, right? You want to grow as a person to be more comfortable in your own skin and be able to talk to somebody if, a conversation strikes up. That's kind of what happened with me too, because I wasn't necessarily a really shy person. I was just like, not really wanting to talk to people, or at least not knowing how to first beginning to talk to people. And when we started this podcast about 6 or 7 years ago, he'll tell you he was the only one that would talk during interviews.
It's true.
But now,
it's true.
Working up to where we are now, I feel like I'm able to strike up a conversation with anyone. So that's awesome to hear, because we also talk a lot about mental health and that type of thing. And I know that stuff can go hand in hand with like anxiety and that type of different stuff. So to be able to get out of your shell and to be able to become this lively, bubbly person that you are now today, I mean, it's awesome. So kudos to you for being able to take that step and be able to continue moving forward. And I know it's always an interesting experience too in these acting classes, because you have so many different people sometimes that are right next to you trying to do the same thing or around like the same monologue and stuff like that. So I mean, you might not know the answer to this, but I'm just always curious. From your first acting class, how many people do you think are still doing it? Because, a lot of people get into it and then kind of just fall off. So on average, how many do you think are still doing it?
That's a good question.
Right?
I know some people who I, came across with sometimes they don't continue, because some people do acting. Like for me personally, when I first started, there was a lot of people who started with me that were pursuing acting. It was more like I was saying, like they were just trying to break out of being able to speak in front of people, or because that it is really actually, acting classes, it's therapeutic, honestly.
Oh, without doubt.
Because it challenges you in that way. And so I don't necessarily have the answer to that,
of course,
but I know that probably some people just stopped doing it, or just didn't continue having that passion, just because it's a very, I don't want to say tough industry, but it can be hard.
Oh, yeah.
Especially because, with all the no's and stuff that you get, and that can discourage people to not continue to keep going.
Yeah, we like to say that it's an industry full of selection and not rejection.
Yeah.
Because one of our past guests on the show, he actually said, think about a casting director as someone who goes out and tries to buy a car. They're looking for a specific make, a specific model, or at least somewhere around that. And maybe they're looking for a Cadillac. And today you're like a Honda, okay? They just don't want the Honda right now.
That's right.
They'll just stick with the Cadillac. So it's kind of interesting to see how different people think about the industry, because staying positive and keeping yourself motivated is such a big thing.
Well, and there's a lot of people in it for the wrong reasons. I feel like a lot of people that get into it and you don't see continue, they want to be rich and famous. They don't want to act. They want to be a celebrity. And there's a huge difference. This industry is tough, and you have to have thick skin. And if you're just in it because you want to be a celebrity and you want to be rich and famous, you're not going to last long, because people built like that don't typically do well with critique or criticism or no's. They're like, wait a minute, I'm a star. You can't tell me I'm not good. So
you don't see this shit.
Yeah. Did you see my audition? It's like, we did, and no. But so I feel like that, a lot of people get into it for that type of a reason and then realize, okay, it's just not going to happen for me. And we've always, because we're in the industry, we're filmmakers ourselves, and we've always been people who feel like you just got to be upfront and honest with people like that and be like, this is not going to happen for you. It's not good for anybody if you lead them along trying to have them go after something you know is not going to happen. We always try to say, it doesn't mean you can't live the dream. It doesn't mean you can't be in the industry. Let's focus on an area where you can still get it done and but this particular path won't work. And so we always kind of take that approach to it, because I just feel like leading anybody the wrong direction and prolonging the agony of something not working out, not so good for the mental health, right? You, on the other hand, that would not be an issue, because like I said, you are phenomenal. I was just literally blown away with when I saw you. First of all, the way you're playing against Mark Paul is just incredible. Okay, let's jump into Found, because man, Found, there's so much to find with Found. And then so we have the great pleasure of knowing Shinola. We got to meet her several years back on the red carpet at America 2.0, and she's just a gem. We love her to death. She was actually a guest on this very show a couple years ago, and we just love her. And one of the things that immediately struck out to me is how you were able to adapt. It's believable that you are a young Gabby. The mannerisms and the way that you picked up on how Shinola acts, it was phenomenal. I'm like, I'm totally looking at a young Shinola, and I don't even know a young Shinola, but you can see that. So talk about the approach a little bit about that, because we don't see you guys at the same time, right? You're more playing off of Mark Paul, but you had to learn. You had to be like, okay, I'm her young. And talk about your approach, because I'm assuming old Gabby has changed a lot because she's gone through a lot. So while you guys are very similar, you're also very different. Did you guys discuss things like that? Did you did you talk about how you were going to approach the characters, or did you just go completely separate and say, I'm going to do this and you're going to do this and we'll see how it works?
Actually, we didn't never sat down and talk, but what they did do was they would show me different, I guess when directing, okay, this is how kind of even the transitions and everything, to try to give me an idea of how Shinola is doing things.
Right.
If that makes sense. Because again, we never, even on set, it was a rare instance if we ever crossed paths. Even though we did sometimes, maybe she was in a trailer or something like that or whatever, but it was very rare. So what was the interesting part was taking that information and ultimately being a younger Gabby, the younger Gabby. And so that was fun in itself, because it was an honor, absolute honor to play Shinola Hampton as I would say even this, even knowing her as a person kind of influenced me as the younger Gabby as well.
I can see that.
Because, her character, this personally, and just the way she literally, because I've actually been on set. I remember once I stayed on set to, really look at her. And how she did certain things, because we never, but I did stay, when I was able to cross paths with her, I would stay and look at her, and I'm like, okay, this is her mannerisms when she's Gabby, she's Gabby.
Full in.
I mean, that, so just studying her, and looking and being, when I did have the opportunity to see her on set, to just watch her, and how she spoke, and just knowing that even though I was like, I don't want to be exactly what she is, just because the trauma and everything made her that.
Exactly.
And I'm showing within that trauma and then before that trauma, if that makes sense.
Oh,
so
totally.
Distinction, and then, the in-between is what hopefully we get to see in season 2. But yeah.
I love that though, because it's interesting, and I just literally put this together during the conversation while you're speaking. Last week we had kind of a similar situation too, where the actor that we interviewed was playing the younger version of an older character, and it was kind of like time jumping back and forth. So that's funny. These are both your guests, Dustin. How are you scheduling all of these? That's so funny.
I have this fascination with
these two different types of characters.
All right, I'm just gonna reveal it here. I am a time traveler. I do go back and forth, and so I like to talk to both timelines. It's just that's as we've discussed, though, there can be only one. So I'm gonna, at the end of this interview, I have to pull out the sword and chop the heads off, guys. I'm sorry.
It's true. It's true. Oh my goodness. But yeah, I mean, it's so funny to be able to do that because there's your time, and then there is her time, and then you have to think about all that the years in between both of y'all's characters that gives the room for development, that gives the room for growing up into like a hardened individual who, spoiler alert, if you haven't started watching it, where are you? But who ends up actually kidnapping her kidnapper. Absolutely freaking wild. It's crazy to be able to work with legends too, right? Because not only Shanola Hampton, but I got to tell you, literally growing up, every single morning before school, I was watching Saved by the Bell.
Who wasn't, man? Who wasn't?
So to work with Mark Paul Gosselaar is absolutely wild. Zach, for anybody who doesn't know how to correlate names, but I mean, and this being a completely different role than anything I've seen him before. So what was that like working with someone who has been in the industry since your age or even younger, to be able to develop as an actor and as someone who can pass along pieces of advice? So what was it like working with him?
It was honestly phenomenal working with him. Like, he is so professional and he is so kind, outside of Sir. It's so kind, and he was honestly even when there's different shots and stuff, and he was kind enough to even give me, when it's not on him, still give me that energy and what I needed to be affected the way I needed to, portray the character at the time. And it was just, like I said, it's such a blessing to me to always be able to work with such amazing people, and who are such beasts in their craft. I mean, when he was Sir, when I tell y'all, his voice, when y'all saw that fear, that was real, because his voice, because of where we are and how we're actually in this kind of farmhouse, in the space, it rumbled my heart. When I tell y'all, when he was Sir, he was Sir. But when he wasn't Sir, he was Sir, and he's so nice and he's so sweet. So and
no, that leads me to a couple of questions, because I was really curious about that. One, because everybody does kind of identify him as Zach, and so when you see Sir, I mean, that is a massive credit to his acting ability, because it's you're holy shit, this is nowhere close to Zach. This is and then he comes across terrifying. So when you just said that you were that fear was real, let's talk about that a little bit, because I feel like when you go into character like that and you're in that situation, that's a lot of detail and a lot of trauma and a lot of stuff. And a lot of people are incapable of just turning that on and turning that off. They carry that with them off set or into, real life. How did you approach that, knowing that it was going to be this type of a role and you were going to be facing some seriously dark stuff? How did you adjust for that mentally, knowing that, okay, we're going to go into some really dark places and it's going to get really intense and I might get really oh my gosh, scared. And then I got to be able to adjust and be no, it's Mark Paul and I'm Azaria and everything is fine. How did you approach that, knowing going in what it was going to be?
Well, one, my coach, he prepped me, help, prepare me for each episode. And so he would always tell me to 30 minutes before or anything, get into that space. I used to let everybody know, that, because it ain't understood, because it's heavy stuff. So they obviously felt bad for me. Because it was dang, you always got to be. But I used to tell them, I'm probably not going to be talking as much, because I'm a very lively and, I'm not going to be talking as much. I'm trying to get, where I need to be in that headspace and everything. And so he will always tell me, and then he'll say to keep it on your shoulder the whole time. 30 minutes before, keep it on your shoulder. And so you do what you need to do, go on set, you do what you need to do. You're in that place mentally. So when they say action, you're ready.
Mm-hmm.
But then he said afterwards, you have to get yourself out of that. You have to take the time, you breathe, you let it go. You do what you got to do. You listen to something. You talk yourself out of that space because you don't want to keep that.
Right.
Because that needs to stay there.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever that feeling was, it needs to stay there. So he always said, keep it on your shoulder. And when you're done, when you're out of it, get it off your shoulder. Dust it off your shoulder. Mm-hmm. Get it off your shoulder. Get out of there. Get it out of that headspace. Because you don't want to keep that, because that's not what you're, going through. You don't want to project that anywhere else except for where it was supposed to be projected,
Right. Exactly. And I mean, that leads up to, something else that popped in my head. Do you have a certain routine, or do you say something to yourself that you're just like, okay, now I'm on the come down. Okay, I'm acting, I'm at work. That's where I'm at. So do you have a certain routine to bring yourself down from that space? Because I know it can be difficult sometimes.
Mm-hmm. For me, music, like I said, I grew up on music.
There you go.
So music is honestly my key. And even before I even start, I'm a very positive person, and I prioritize my mental health so much.
Good.
And I feel like that honestly helps as well. Plus the music and just knowing, I'm like, okay, yes, because I take stuff to heart. Because even with all the situations, we're telling real life stories.
Yeah,
right.
And even that itself, somebody has gone through this before or is currently going through this. And so that itself is heavy, but I constantly have to remind myself to keep myself and afterwards, put myself in a positive mind space. And I listen to music. I don't care what it is. And again, my favorite artist is Michael Jackson. So I'm going to turn on some rock with you, some Billie Jean, something. Okay. I'm so serious just to get myself out of that funk because it is, especially when you have to do take after take after take. Sometimes it's draining and it can suppress you. It can take over a little bit. And so that's what I have to do. And I have to literally, sometimes I shake it off, it's in your body. So you got to shake it off. And I know it can be harder, than sometimes, but.
Well, Michael's good to shake it off too, right? If you're going to have a music choice to go to shake it off, Michael's good to go. That's how you do it. Yeah, and you mentioned earlier your dad played the music all the time and everything. So I'm guessing too you have a very strong support system around you to help you guide through that situation as well, right? Because I feel like many times that's important too. You got to have the right people in your circle. You got to have people that are going to tell you when they need to tell you something and not hold back, right?
Oh yes, that is my family 100%. Everybody, my aunties, uncle, my mom, dad, sister, brother, everybody. When I tell you, I am so grateful to have such a supportive system. And I know everybody, especially in the industry, doesn't have that.
Right.
And growing up, my parents, they used to tell me back in the day, this career wasn't a real career back then. They grew up you had to get a 9 to 5. You had to get, this wasn't that's because they didn't see that. And a lot of people, all they knew was to go to work and go to college and that's it. Okay. Yep. And so even with this, I'm still, in school, but even with this, my parents, they were 100% backing me up. 100%. Every audition, every callback, all of that, acting lessons, all that. Before I was able to pay for it myself, they was paying for it.
Love that.
My brother, my sister used to take me to practice, take me, because they literally was just we believe in you this much, and we want you to follow your dreams. And if this is what it is, then we're behind it. And I'm so grateful to have had that, because I know a lot of people don't, and especially in this industry, don't have that support system and people who they can rely on when the outside world kind of gets crazy or whatever. I have people who have my back regardless.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. And I mean, it's so interesting too, because I feel like a lot of actors, if they don't come from an industry family, if they didn't grow up around their family making movies or their family making TV shows, I feel like a lot of actors come from trauma because that's what they pull out. They're able to connect with certain characters that are on the page because they went through that, or they know someone who went through that, because trauma recognizes trauma, and to be able to have that sort of support system is so critical. Because I know that, you know, some people in my life and some people in Dustin's life as well, they've said for years, get a day job. What are you doing? Why? I don't understand what you're doing, like all that stuff. But then when our film comes out and they're like, oh, you're having a red carpet premiere, am I invited? No, you're not invited. What does this look like? Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, you can't call it a fake job, or, you know, kind of, and then expect to show up on the carpet. It don't work like that, you know. It's like, oh, I know them. It's like, but where were you when I was making this film? Like, you know.
Yeah. But I mean, that's so good to hear, specifically for you, because like I feel like your future is so bright, because we always talk about, you know, what it's kind of more about who you know rather than what you know, because we've gotten into a lot of doors because of all the friends we've made through the podcast and all the friends we've made through working on different sets and different things like that. So to be able to be that lively, that bubbly, to where like people are going to want to help you out. And I feel like that is such an advantage on your side that you should just continue taking advantage of. Don't change yourself for anyone. Who cares what anyone else thinks? Because with who you are right now, I think you are going to go very far.
Oh, thank you so much.
And a testament to that is Shanola and them did a live. They went live on Instagram on the night of the finale, and as soon as Azaria popped up, she was like, oh, Azaria's on! I mean, she just lit up and talked about you. They love you. They adore you. They talk about you in such an affectionate way. And I mean, and trust us, like I said, we've seen her light up when she's talking and happy about something. And when you popped on, the way she lit up and made perfectly clear, Azaria is on. Everybody, look. That tells you right there. And that, like Logan said, that is because you've established yourself with the reputation of a person that people want to be with, that want to work with. Because we tell people this all the time. It really is a very small community. And people think that it's some giant, huge Hollywood, but it's a very small, tight-knit community, and everybody knows everybody. So how you project yourself gets out there, and that's who you are. And if you're that person nobody wants to work with, people quickly find out you're that person nobody wants to work with. So, you know, and so you're doing it the right way, and you're a natural. I feel like, you know, you can take lessons and you can get coached. And I've seen people become very good actors through learning the skill. But then there are also people that are just, you put them out there and they are a pure natural, born to do it. And I feel like that's you. Just from every performance that I saw you, and even like I said, when I went back to P-Valley, and everybody should go back and watch that as well. I think it was like how you said that when you first started, you just knew, you felt like you were meant to be there. That's because it is. You're so natural, it was meant to be that. And that comes across on screen. You connect to people, the audience, and that's why, like Logan said, you are going to have a very long career. You are going to be very successful. And it's amazing. I really think... Yeah, it's fun for us as filmmakers to see people like you and watch it happen. Like people that had no clue they even wanted to do this, and then boom, and it's and we're so thankful that people who didn't know they wanted to do it, because you're like, what would he be without people like you? So it's just amazing. It really is amazing.
That means so much. Like, you don't understand, that means so much to me. Thank y'all.
Of course.
We're all about, you know, the raising people up. This podcast is for the up and comers breaking into the entertainment industry, learn more about your story and how you did it so they can try to implement that in their lives. And, you know, after we always have conversations with our guests, we are more than open to help any way we can. Because that's what it's all about. It's all about lending the helping hand, and that's what we pride ourselves here at Crazy Ant Media for. But something else we've been doing in 2024, and I think we're going to have fun with this one because
I think so.
You're so bubbly. I love it. We have a couple of popcorn questions for you. And hopefully you don't have to think too hard about these, but I mean, I feel like sometimes you have to. Number one, the first one is going to be, what was the funniest moment or most memorable moment on the Found set?
Okay, memorable moment. Okay, fun, memorable moment.
Well, I just want to preface that fun would be tough after everything you just said. So memorable, probably.
Well, I mean, it depends on if I was actually on set. Because remember, sometimes I would go on set just to be on set.
Okay.
I wasn't filming. I was just on there. I'm trying to remember the moment. Oh, it was this one time when we were on set. I wasn't filming. I think it was like towards the end. It was towards the end because I just came back for the last episode, and they were playing music. It was like a dance break, and we all was just dancing. I mean, but they was playing like old school music. Like, you know, I'm old soul, okay, very old school. So I mean, they were playing what was it? Why can I not think of the artist? Why? Darn it! I don't know if it was It Takes Two, or it was somewhere around there. Okay. I do not know why, but I just remember being so happy because I felt like, you know, you're just surrounded by so many positive, like everybody on that set was just so positive and loving, and so everybody was just having a good time. So that was my most like fun moment and memorable moment, if that makes sense. Yeah, that was right there.
I love that.
Can you even picture right now in your head Mark Paul dancing to Rob Bass? It Takes Two. I can totally see that right now. I want to. If there's video of that anywhere, we need to find that and like post that, because that's.
He was there though. I don't think he was, because it was everybody. I don't think he was there. No, I don't think so. I think he was there.
That's so funny. That is so funny.
I will remember that.
Okay.
Right.
All right. So now this is kind of a fun one. Okay. So this is like we're gonna dive into the mind a little bit of how you think. If you could live in any movie or TV show, which one would it be and why?
Oh, already, Martin.
Wow, that was quick. Quick. I love that.
Like, I want to be on some type of sitcom like Martin. I want to be there, okay? And it's just because it's so fun. Like, and they remind me, Martin and Gina reminds me, like they're just like my parents. It's basically like I'm already living there, literally. Right. But that's why, because it's very familiar to me. So, and it's so fun. It's such a fun show and such an amazing cast. And
oh yeah,
it is. Yeah. It is. I love that reunion at the Emmys. That was really cool. That was awesome. Next one would be, if you could work with anyone, who would it be?
Oh, Taraji P. Henson.
Oh man,
so good,
man.
Yeah.
You are killing it with these answers. Woo!
I know, right?
Yeah.
Yo, she's on my vision board. I'm gonna get there.
No, you.
I just love her. Like I haven't met her personally, but I just love her. I just love her spirit, like just by her interviews and everything, and then how she's such an advocate on mental health. All that, like I love that. I love that so much, and I love her range. Like I love her.
That's you're gonna get there, trust me. We one of our guests just a couple weeks ago, Callie Spraggins, she played a young cookie, so you know, and so I'm telling you, you're gonna be there, and can I just say, if it like Shanola Hampton and Taraji P, you would be like legendary at that point.
Yeah,
if you're working with both of them, we're gonna manifest that. We're gonna make that happen. We're gonna make that happen. Okay. So we know your routine to come back down. We dance to Michael Jackson. We get all that. What's the morning routine? What does Azaria do when she wakes up in the morning to get going?
Okay, it like for a set day or just my everyday routine?
Just everyday life. What's a normal morning routine for you?
Well, first of all, I get up and I pray personally, and I meditate, and basically that's the first thing I do, and then afterwards we're in 2024, okay? 2024, new year, new me. I started working out, y'all, every morning.
Okay.
Nice.
Every morning, because I told myself that I really want to prioritize my my health, not only just mentally but physically as well. And that's really something that I've been really going towards. And even in the mornings, I like to write down what I have to do that day. So after I work out, so I pray, meditate, go work out. I like to write down what I listen to the music, and I write down like what I have to do today, what I want to accomplish today, the goals for today, and then I write down my goals for the week. What am I want to accomplish at least this week? And then you have the the broad one of this month. And again, just trying to balance, because I am in school as well, so that goes on that list as well. And that's honestly like, and after that, I eat eventually. Sometimes I forget. Okay, I'm working on that.
I feel you.
But and that's honestly how I start my day. I literally have a plan for my day. I plan my day out before I even start it.
Logan, who does that sound like? Good. Right? Well, we could pull out our planners right now. The top of my planner says meditate, exercise, and then my list of things to do for the day. And we have the month planned out. You're so like-minded. No wonder we like you so much. You're very like-minded.
Yeah. I love it. Well, and the fifth and final question. This one's kind of deep, so be prepared. So far, are you happy with your career?
I am.
Good.
I am. I feel like it's going the way it's meant to go, and I'm so grateful. Because honestly, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Even when I first started, I didn't even think I would be here where I am today. Just because again, I was that shy, timid, little girl. I think I started about 14, 15 years old. So I can't even, like, that little girl. I know she is so proud of the woman that I am today. And just the area, I'm still growing. I'm still taking lessons, my acting lessons and everything. I'm still growing, and I'm continuously going to grow. Even when I get 10 years from now, I'm still going to always dedicate myself to grow, because you can always grow. But I am very happy. I'm happy where I am, and I'm blessed to be where I am. And I'm excited to see what else is in the pot, cooking up.
Sure.
That I don't know about yet. And I know everything's going to work out the way it's supposed to. And I know I'm going to end up where I need to be. So.
Yeah. I mean, the word you keep coming back to, and I think it's why you're seeing the success that you're having and why people enjoy you and want to be around you, gratitude. I've heard you say gratitude or grateful numerous times throughout, and it's people like that are going to get far. They're going to succeed because they're grateful for what they have. They're not bitter about what they didn't get. They're not angry about somebody else getting it. You're grateful for what you get, and you know that there's a plan, and you just go with where the plan is taking you. And that's why you're going to be a huge success, because of that right there. Man, I kind of wanted to do a little Barbara Walters question. Like, what would you, if you could go back and tell your 10-year-old self something, what would you tell her? Like that little shy girl kind of what do you tell that girl? Don't worry, you're going to be Beyonce. You're going to get out there. You're going to be putting on a show.
Have faith in yourself. That's what I would tell her. And don't listen to other people. Because again, when I was younger, I was told, I'm being very vulnerable, but I was told that I was extra. And and it was in a negative way. I was extra. I was always loud, which I was loud. Okay, if you was in my high school, you heard me down the hall. But but I was everywhere. Like, I was on the announcements. I was in theater in my in high school. You see my face. You did, and so many people picked at me for that. Like, why are you always just everywhere? Why are you just being so extra? You so loud. You so da 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 da. And now I know why I was all that. Obviously, as you grow up, so now I know there's a time and a place for everything when it comes to, being loud, because I was young. So of course I was loud, probably annoying a little bit. But I used to dial myself down, because I'm like, you know what, I'm trying to fit in. I don't want to be, the outcast or anything. But I would tell my younger self to not be afraid of who I am, and to be proud of who I am.
Yes.
And not to let anybody anybody tell me otherwise, that I'm not worthy enough, that I am this, I am that. No, I am who God says I am. So that's what I will honestly like, and I wish, and that's one thing that I really take pride in even now, because I do speak at or before the strike happened, I was speaking at different high schools and everything, and talking to the younger generation, even though I'm not that far along. Saying younger generation, like I'm just talking to them and saying that they can do this, you know, and don't let anybody take that away from you. Like, you have these gifts for a reason. Use them. Do not let them die. And so that's what I know. But that's what I would tell. I'm very passionate about that. But that's what I would tell my younger self. Like, girl, you are her. Okay.
I love that. I love that. I mean, Logan, I can't think of any better way to start to wrap it up than that.
I really feel like that's it. I really feel like you put a nice little cherry on top of this interview milkshake. So congratulations. It was absolutely amazing. Congratulations on your success. And we all know it's about social media right now. So where can our fans follow you?
All right. So you can follow me on my YouTube channel, which is simply just Azaria. And then my Instagram is azaria.carter. So it's AZARIA dot or period. And then Carter, CARTER. And then Twitter, I believe it's just Azaria or simply just Azaria.
All right.
One of those. Okay. And that's the only. Oh yeah, and TikTok. Either simply just Azaria or just Azaria. I'm just, you know,
everywhere. We get it.
Yeah. So.
We get it. But listen, thank you so much for coming on the show. You were an absolute blast. Open invite. Anytime you ever want to come back on, just to, you know, have a conversation about the industry. We have an industry news segment. We have a top 5 segment where we talk about like top 5 movies of certain categories and things like that. So yeah, and the mental health one. You're very in tune with your mental health. So feel free to come back on that one as well. But Azaria, thank you so much again. And I mean, this is going to be an amazing career for you, and we're super excited about it.
Thank you so much, and thank you both for having me. Like, this was fun, y'all. Like,
well, that's good. That's good. Yeah. We try to make it a safe place where we can just have fun and be real. You know, and none of that Q&A. Tell us about this or blah blah blah. No, we just want to have a conversation and have some fun, and you did just that. So you were amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Of course. Listen, take care, and we'll be talking to you soon.
Okay, thank you.
Bye. Oh boy, talk about personality right there, man. The biggest personality of 2024 on the show so far.
And the biggest smile on the show of 2024 so far. That smile's infectious. I mentioned it in the interview, though, and the one thing that I just kept coming back to me over and over and over is just how grateful she is for everything that she has and where she's at. And I just feel like people like that, the sky is the limit for people who understand how to be grateful for what is given to them and what they have. It's an amazing thing. She's an amazing young woman.
All right, now it is time for the top 5 segment, man. And oh boy, this week, I mean, we teased a little bit earlier, and I know you said it. It's kind of like a history lesson. If you guys haven't watched these, I mean, these are really good about historical events, and that's what our top 5 is. Top 5 films bringing historical events to life. I mean, I had to do some research on this one, man.
Yeah, no, this one was tough. This one, I was like, you know, what are we going to do here? Because there were and as I started racking my brains, I'm like, damn, I've seen a lot of history films. A lot of stuff. I'm a history buff, and I'm a biography buff, and so everybody who knows me knows I love this shit. So I feel like, of course, I would gravitate to these type films. But even I didn't realize how many I had seen, and now I've got to try to condense them down to 5. I'm like, fuck, how do I do this? But I think I got 5 pretty good ones, and you've got 5 pretty good ones, so I think we're going to be okay here. I think this is going to be a good list.
I tried really hard because I mean, really, all 10 of ours, they could have been like war movies, but I tried really hard not to make them all war
without
movies.
Without doubt. Yeah.
It's so funny. But number 5 for me is a war movie, and I'm talking about Black Hawk Down. If you guys haven't seen this, it's honestly one of my favorite war combat films. It's basically where, somebody just tries to have a quick in and out mission. I believe they were just circling, to be able to make sure this little area, this little town was secure. But then, like, of course, there were hidden terrorists there that just completely solved that. American soldiers were there and they fucked everything up.
Oh yeah.
And then they try to be saved by a Black Hawk and it gets shot down. So that's where you get the name, Black Hawk Down. But I just, war flicks always get to me, man, because like, for instance, today we've talked about how I'm a cook and I work in a restaurant, and to be able, I saw, and I live around Air Force Base and a Navy base, and I saw 7 young men and women come in and eat today. And, the thought came through my brain where, one, oh my goodness, they're younger than me and I still feel young. And I'm still a young person. And then 2, like, this is so morbid. I don't know why this morbid thought came into my head, but I'm like, out of the 7, what do you think the percentage is of them passing away in combat? And I mean, it's just one of those things that they sign up for. And I mean, you can never thank people who sign up to serve our country enough. And these are the type of things I think about when I watch war movies, man.
I mean,
but yeah, number 5 for me, Black Hawk Down.
Bro, I know why it popped in your head, because, today, as we recorded this show, today, President Biden had to be at a ceremony bringing 3 bodies back home and having to deliver them to the families. And these were babies. These 2 women, the one girl looked like she was 12 years old. When I saw the picture first pop up, I was like, oh my God. And they were attacked by a drone. Just like the U.S. drone was coming back, and somehow so the airspace was open, and then the enemy drone got in and just killed these 3 soldiers. And the 2 of them were babies. And I know, though Sergeant wasn't that old, only 42, but these other 2 were babies, man. They were just like babies, 20-something years old. And I was just like, oh. And, President Biden, when he said it, he talking to the parents, because as you guys know, he's lost a child and he knows. But he was like, when he was talking about the military, he's like, 1% of the people sign up to protect and defend 99% of us. And this is what they do. And yeah, it's if you guys don't know, it's not always an easy life. And in fact, like where you're at there, Logan, and where I'll be soon, sometimes when shit gets edgy, those young airmen and those young Navy guys, they're not even allowed to go off base because they're worried that they'll be attacked at restaurants. And like sometimes they keep them on base and won't even allow them to go out into the community for fear of their safety. And that's crazy. That's crazy. It's unreal how we have to like think about that. But oof. Yeah, Black Hawk Down. Right.
Sorry to get deep on
that. No, but I mean, it's sad that we're talking about it, and then today that we have to talk about 3 soldiers coming home, and not the way they wanted to, and it's just the reality of life in the world that we live in. My number 5, I'm gonna try to take it up. We're gonna soar a little bit, bring spirits back up. My number 5, Hidden Figures, which in itself did deal with a lot of heavy stuff, though. If you guys don't remember Hidden Figures, this is about the moon, trying to get to the moon, trying to figure out how to make the rocket work. How is it actually going to launch and get into orbit and do what it's supposed to do? Hidden Figures is the story about that, but it's the story about the women, the math that it takes, and it's black women. And these were all kept underground. It's called Hidden Figures because not only was it about the math, but they weren't really well known. Nobody talked about the women, the black women, because guys, it was still segregated back then. Nobody, these guys, nobody wanted to admit that these women of color, were the ones responsible for figuring out how to get the rocket into space. And it's Kevin Costner's in it, and Taraji P. Henson, and Octavia Spencer, and Janelle Monáe, and like such a phenomenal cast. But it really put the emphasis on the importance of the people you don't see, right? We've all heard the Apollo 13. We've all heard about the astronauts. We had a Grissom and all the guys, right? But these are the people that got them into space. These are the important people. And I just thought this was a really phenomenal movie, really well done. And Hidden Figures, my number 5. I loved it. I'm tearing up from that last story.
I know, right?
I'm just thinking about it, man, and I'm just like, man, it's so... Anyway, Hidden Figures are my number 5. My number 5.
I know. It is crazy. We are a very flawed country, but we love this country.
We do.
It's definitely one of those things. Number 4 is a newer one that just came out. Paul Dano doing what he does, being a freaking chameleon of the entertainment industry. I'm talking about Dumb Money.
Yes.
Where just a couple of years ago, that stock market, I don't even know, phenomena, I guess you could call it, with GameStop and Bed Bath & Beyond.
Oh
and,
my gosh,
a couple of others, like the way that they were able to manipulate young people, basically. The way that they were able to have them raise the stock and have all of this freaking money, basically, as they pull out and are able to cash out. It was crazy. But I mean, we're at a point in time now where, like, it is so easy to do these type of things. So that's why I think this movie is so relevant, and it was so historic, because we had never seen anything like that.
No.
Because, you don't even have to purchase full stocks anymore. You can do percentages of a stock.
You can.
And stuff like that. So, I mean, Dumb Money, though, it's not like as impactful as all of these other historical events that we have on our list. It was definitely historical in the stock market that is very important for how we continue to run our country and how we continue to, keep moving forward as far as our financial gain. But it's a great film, man. It's a very in and out, nothing crazy. It just tells the story of what happened, and great actors in it as well. So yeah, number 4 for me, Dumb Money.
I loved that film. I just recently watched it, and I absolutely loved it. And I love the guy. He's basically like, don't come at me. It's your stupidity that I took advantage of. It's like, it's not me. It's you. You're manipulating the game, and I figured it out. That's on you, not me. And I loved it. I loved every aspect of it. And it really opened a lot of eyes, I think, about, wait a minute. What does go on the stock? I don't think enough people nearly understand how the stock market works. What is the real deal with that?
Exactly.
Why does it go up and down? What manipulates it? What doesn't? And this movie, I think, did a really great job of opening that up and going, look, here's how it works.
It is.
It was really, really good. If you guys haven't checked that out, make sure you check it out, because it's fucking phenomenal. My number 4. It's kind of like, it's Spielberg. Steven Spielberg directed it. And this movie is so good that even though you know the outcome, you know what's going, you're still on the edge of your seat wondering if it's going to happen, even though you know it fucking happens. It's like, I'm talking about Lincoln. And this whole movie is about his fight for the amendment to end slavery and during the Civil War, and can he get the votes, and they're arguing in Congress and all this kind of stuff. And Lincoln is trying to go through the Civil War, and he's trying to end slavery, and he's trying to make it happen. And it's so good that you are literally like, what's gonna happen? You know what fucking happened. You know it worked. Everything was fine. And then you know he's gonna die at the end, and yet you're still like, oh shit, he's getting in the carriage. He's on his way to the Ford Theater. Fuck! Why do we have to kill him? Why couldn't this be a happy ending? Where's Tarantino to change history? This whole movie, I was just like, holy shit. And Daniel Day-Lewis as fucking Abraham Lincoln. Holy shit. That was... A lot of people have played Abraham Lincoln, and they did a great job, but this was just the most phenomenal piece of acting I've seen in just a long time. He absolutely killed it. And then you had Sally Field as Mary Todd Lincoln, who was just insane. And she was insane, if you guys don't remember, because of the son, losing the son, and the son being sick. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Hal Holbrook, James Spader. the amount of people, Tommy Lee Jones, this movie was fucking incredible. And if you haven't seen it, I would highly recommend seeing it. Even though you know the story. You know it's Abraham Lincoln. You know he abolishes slavery. You know how the Civil War ends. You know he goes to the theater and gets shot. But watch it anyway. Don't say, no, I know what happens. I'm telling you, you will be on your seat. You will be riveted. You'll be glued to the screen the whole time you're watching it because it's absolutely brilliant. And there's a little twist. There's a little twist about one of the people in Congress that you're like, he's hardcore. You think he's a racist, but is he? Don't know what I'm talking about? You got to watch and figure it out. You'll go, wait a minute. What the fuck? He's on the floor and he's saying all this shit, but then he's going home and what? Uh-huh. I'm telling you, Spielberg. Give it a try. Number 4, Lincoln. Fucking fantastic.
Yes, and I wish, honorable mention, probably not historically accurate, but it's fine. Abraham Lincoln, the Vampire Hunter.
No, yeah, another great.
It.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it too.
It.
The book and the film, both great. Yeah.
Exactly. If Abe was a vampire hunter,
I mean, I think he was. I'm just gonna say he was.
Yeah, man. I mean, of course. Number 3 for me goes to Harriet, the one that came out a couple years ago that I felt not enough people talked about. This movie was freaking phenomenal, and I was assuming that it was going to be Oscar nominated, and it was not. I think it got nominated for something small, for like sound or music or something like that.
Yeah,
but nothing crazy. And it was such a great movie. Of course, about Harriet Tubman, trying to bring everybody back up north as far as slaves and them escaping slavery. It was just an amazing film, and going back for her family, leaving them behind, and that type of dynamic. Not enough people talk about it, man. I don't know why, but I mean, the Underground Railroad was always something that fascinated me, because it's a stop along a journey to freedom, basically. To be able to show that in this interpretation of Harriet Tubman was so powering and so moving, and I wish more people would see it. But yeah, number 3 for me, Harriet.
Yeah, I feel like this film was a victim of what's going on in this country right now, where we're trying to rewrite history and pretend a bunch of shit didn't happen. Let's take down a bunch of stuff. Let's not talk about stuff. Let's take it out of history books. But guys, history is history, and it's important. This movie, I remember we went and saw it, and our theater was silent. They were glued to that screen, and it got a rousing applause at the end. I think people were like, wait. Because it went into great detail about a lot of stuff a lot of people didn't know about Harriet Tubman. And it was amazing. It was a phenomenal film. I'm glad you put it on the list because it was fucking phenomenal. My number 3, RBG. RBG. And it's about her early life. I'm, of course, talking about the legendary Ruth Bader Ginsburg. My number 3 is On the Basis of Sex. What a phenomenal film. This movie tells you the whole story of her young life, going before the Supreme Court, long before she became a Supreme Court justice, right? She's fighting for equal rights for women, and she's appearing before the court. And I got to tell you, Felicity Jones, phenomenal in the role, okay? Absolutely phenomenal in the role if you haven't seen it. I'm going to ignore who plays her husband. Just not going to talk about it. But this movie it's all about her fight for equal rights, for becoming the first time period of going at Harvard Law School, becoming who she became. It's a brilliant movie. If you want to know the history of what it was like and what she fought for and how before she ever became famous for being on the Supreme Court, the stuff that she was fighting for and appearing for, this movie is amazing. It's you guys got to see it. If I'm just telling you, I want to get it right because it starts off with her in the 50s. And it talks about how she was going to go and she dealt with a time period of where she was a trial lawyer, but then she wanted to fight for women's rights, and how she basically sexual discrimination about women and how she feels like she's got to get it before the Supreme Court to basically fight for equal rights for women and everything based on sex. And it's amazing. I didn't know all that about Ruth Bader Ginsburg. I was like, wait, what? I didn't know she was here, and I didn't know she was there, and I didn't know she did this. It's an amazing film, and it's an amazing cast. Like I said, Felicity Jones plays her, and then you've got Justin Theroux, Sam Waterston. I mean, just a phenomenal cast. I highly recommend, if you don't know your history and you only know the latest right before her passing about Ruth, go and watch this film and learn her history, because she was an amazing, phenomenal woman who a lot of rights that you have, they're because of her and her arguments in front of that court. So if you want to know, if you watch this movie on the basis of sex, it's fucking fantastic. It's a great film. Shout out to Stephanie Spencer for recommending it to me, because I wasn't going to see it. And she's like, I can't believe you wouldn't see it. You got to watch it. And I watched it and I was like, you're right. I should have fucking watched it. You were right. Okay, Stephanie.
So funny. So funny. Number 2 for me goes to one I've been talking about a lot recently on the podcast, because it just moved me so much. And I really enjoyed this film, and I was surprised that it wasn't more Oscar nominated this year. And I'm talking about Napoleon. Obviously, I pointed it out before. I have the poster back here, the movie poster.
No.
I love this thing, man. And I'm not even much of a Joaquin Phoenix fan, but he, I don't know, just his interpretation of a man who basically, he's a grinder, he's a hustler. He rose his way from the top, from the bottom, and basically ran an entire country, an entire not a continent, but I mean territories. Just what he was able to accomplish. We talk about conquerors, and Napoleon was a big conqueror. I mean, you talk about the time he spent over in Egypt with the pyramids and all of these different things, and it goes in detail about all of those as well. And then you talk about his sexual encounters with his wife, who couldn't have children, so then he had to marry another woman. And I learned so much about Napoleon in this movie that I went and of course researched after the fact to make sure it was real, that I didn't learn in school. So I thought that was really cool. But yeah, number 2 for me, Napoleon. Everybody should check this one out. It should be hitting Apple TV Plus here soon.
Oh yeah. Highly agree. I think, again, just goes back to how we want to change history, but history is history, and so you got to start digging. I'm so glad that filmmakers are coming out with these movies. Go, here's a real story. Let's tell you what really happened, kind of a thing. I love that. My number 2, in my opinion, one of the best movies of all time. Definitely one of the best, if not the best, Western of all time, and one of the greatest lines ever delivered on screen. I'll be your Huckleberry, or I'm your Huckleberry. Just fucking Val Kilmer, Doc Holliday. Holy shit. I'm, of course, talking about Tombstone. Tombstone, the Earp Boys, Wyatt Earp. Guys, you have Bill Paxton, right? You have Kurt Russell. I mean, right there, okay? And your third one is Sam Elliott. And that's your Earp Boys. Hello. Fucking awesome right there. Then you throw in Kilmer as Doc Holliday. Enough said. Done. Of course, if you guys don't know the story, Tombstone, Arizona, there's a certain corral. The OK Corral. Kind of there was a little shootout there. Oh, yeah. That's what this story is about. It's what it leads up to. Tombstone is all about the lead up to the shootout at the OK Corral with the Earp Boys. Wyatt Earp. Holy shit. The acting in this movie is so fucking phenomenal. They do not hold back. They do not hold back on anything about the truth of who Wyatt Earp and the brothers were, who Doc Holliday was. They weren't always good guys. They weren't always they were a little shady sometimes, and they were a little, do we trust them? Do we not trust them kind of guys? But, the way this movie was shot, the way this movie was written, the way this movie was acted, the just everything from top to bottom, one of the greatest of all time. And like I said, In my opinion, and don't get me wrong, I love Iceman, whatever, fine, Top Gun, whatever. But in my opinion, probably Val Kilmer's greatest role. To play Doc Holliday with tuberculosis and how he pulled that off, and to do just the phenomenal shootout scene when he confronts the red bandit guys and like, holy shit. You think this guy's barely standing, he's about to fucking die, and yet he's like, wah, 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 I'm just like, the movie's about Wyatt Earp, but all I think about every time I watch this movie is fucking Val Kilmer and Doc Holliday, how he steals the fucking movie. It's so good. But if you guys have not seen Tombstone, first of all, where the fuck have you been? If you haven't seen Tombstone, do it. Watch it. You'll go, holy shit. This is the greatest Western I've ever seen. I put it right there with Unforgiven. I go back and forth. Which one's the best one I've ever seen? Which one is the best one I've ever... And then, of course, you got to throw in Young Guns, too. Fucking Young Guns. But, but those three, I think. But it's a constant battle. But I think Kilmer brings it to the top for me. It's just fucking Doc Holliday and Tombstone, my number 2.
So good, man. So good. Well, number 1 for me is something that happened in both of our lifetime at very different lifetimes, different points in our life. So it's interesting because every time I watch this movie, and I'm not a Nick Cage fan, but I mean, this movie, it brings you right back to that day, and it brings you right back what you were going through, watching it on the news, seeing what was happening. And so I'm talking about World Trade Center, about 9/11. This movie is, I have no words for it, honestly, to think about all of the different firefighters, because it's about the firefighters who were walking up the stairs to try to save people on September 11th of 2001. And to be buried underneath Rebel for weeks and still be alive, some of them still be alive, thinking about that gets me emotional for this one specifically. And it's just it's hard to watch. I mean, that I've only seen it like, I think twice. And after the second time, I was just like, man, like, I never want to really go through that again, because, I mean, you already automatically think about it on, September 11th every year. But I mean, watching it, it puts you back in that place. It's so hardcore. It's an amazing film. Nick Cage does a good job. But yeah, it's a hard one, man. It's a really hard one. And I think one of the biggest things that have ever happened to our country. So yeah, the World Trade Center, my number 1.
It's hard to argue. It's hard to argue that. That's a difficult day, man.
It is.
That is a difficult day to try to recount and think about, because you want to block it out. Those people running into the building to save lives. The people who took down the plane so that it wouldn't hit another building, hit the White House. Though you think about those people on that plane, who because that plane was headed to the White House, guys, and that they fucking, like, not today, not on our watch, and they fucking took that plane down. You think about the heroes on that day, it's unbelievable. It's hard to think about. And that day always sticks in my mind because, me and Emily and my ex-wife, and we're in the hospital, and my nephew was run over by a motorcycle, basically torn in half, and he's like, we don't even know if he's going to live. And we're in the hospital already in that state of mind, already like freaked out, already mentally just fucked, thinking about whether he's going to live or die. And then we see everybody crying and everybody screaming and everybody like fucking going, and we're like, what is going on? And you go into the waiting room and on the TV you see it, the fucking World Trade Center in flames and talking about how it's been attacked. And I mean, I don't even know how we fucking got through that day. Honestly, it's got to be one of the most traumatic days and memories in my life. And so yeah, and the idea that there are still people from the smoke and the inhalation and all that, still dying from that day. The people that ran into there, and Jon Stewart fighting for those people still. Yeah. Like, let's get your shit together. We owe these families money. We got to take care of these people who took care of us. Just, I'm glad they made movies about what happened, because we need to see those people as heroes, the heroes that they were. Yeah. Speaking of heroes, my number one, we wouldn't be doing this show. We wouldn't be living the life that we're living. Fuck, we may not even be here if not for these people. The greatest generation. The people who kept us from being overtaken by Germany and living a drastically different life than we know now. Obviously, I'm talking about World War II, and I am talking about the single greatest war movie ever made. And I know there's Patton, and there's The Deer Hunter, and there's Full Metal Jacket, and there's so many amazing war movies that have been made over the years. This one, hands down, the best. Nothing even comes close. The opening scene in Saving Private Ryan is everything you need to know about why these people are called the greatest generation. The bravest fucking men who ever walked the planet. These men knew they were going to die. They knew when they lied about their age to go and die to protect the... Who does that now? They were like... They didn't have to be drafted. They fucking lied to volunteer to go, knowing they weren't coming home. And that opening scene, when the U-boat, the door opens and they're immediately fucking getting shot and killed before they can even get off the boat. You talk about storming the beaches. They died before they could even get off the fucking boat. And they were just, the guys are pushing them out of the way to keep storming and keep going. And then when they get to the beach, they're getting fucking mowed down. But they've got to get past the beach because they've got to get up the side of the mountain. And they're getting mowed. The opening scene of that film, it has me in tears every single fucking time I watch it. And it's like, anybody who argues that that's not the greatest generation and that those people aren't responsible for what we have now, you're fucking crazy, because they are. They are the single greatest generation to ever walk the planet and the most brave individuals ever, period. This movie, though, follows the path of a mother whose all of her sons are over there. All of her sons are fighting that war, and 2 of them have been killed. And they refuse to let her lose all of her sons. So they are on this mission to save her son, her final son, Private Ryan. And holy shit, Tom Hanks, just the cast of basically every A-lister in Hollywood is in this fucking film.
Yeah.
And it is so, this path of them basically making their way across the war zone to find this private to get him home. And they're driving the point home throughout this whole movie. And I think they do a brilliant job, because some of these guys aren't okay with it. They're like, fuck you. We're going to possibly die to send this fucker home. Why is that fair? Why are we going to die to send him home? And what the fuck? Come on, Zoom. Come on. This is not the right time for fireworks. I thought that was brilliant, because you would have to imagine that anger was real. I'm putting my life on the line to send someone else home while I have to stay and probably die. And to have to go through that, to be able to do that, I don't even know how you would get through a mission like that. But holy shit, this movie, I just can't say enough about it. Hopefully, I think that all of our listeners, our watchers out there have seen this movie. If you haven't, Jesus, what? Go see this movie and then get your ass on a plane for wherever you're at and go to New Orleans and visit the World War II Museum, and continue the education and continue to learn about this generation and this war and what they were and what they did and the sacrifices that they made, because... And this movie, of course, has spawned all of the Band of Brothers that Spielberg and Hanks have worked on. Now Masters of the Air that's currently on that they have worked on. All of these films talking about this greatest generation and what they went through to save us. Yeah, wow, I can't. Saving Private Ryan. And God bless you. Just be prepared. Warning. The opening scene is long. It's like 15 minutes. And it is gruesome. It is gruesome. It might make you throw up. It will definitely, I hope, make you cry. But it's not easy to watch. I'll say that. The first 15 minutes are hard to get through. But if you get through it, it's worth it. And the movie is incredible. My number one, Saving Private Ryan.
Who knew this week's top 5 was going to get so deep, man?
Damn, right? I mean, yeah.
So crazy. But yes, we want to know, what is your favorite film that brings historical events to life? Please sure to put a comment below in the YouTube comment section, podcasting, on Twitter, X, Threads, all the good places. But yeah, we love the fan interaction. It's always good. Now we're heading over to the box office. Man, oh man, Mean Girls still reigning high.
Right?
At number 1 with 9.6 million. Number 2 was still Beekeeper with 6.7. Number 3 was Wonka with 5.6. Number 4 was Migration with 4.8. And number 5 was Anyone But You with 4.6.
Yes.
Now, I do think Argyle will claim the number 1 spot this week.
I think so.
Cavill, I feel like that's a shoe-in. New movies coming out. Argyle, Scrambled, The Jungle Brunch, Fitting In, and The Promised Land. Now, movies you can still go see are American Fiction, Poor Things, Origin, Night Swim, and The Boys in the Boat.
Yes.
I will be going to go see American Fiction this week. I think that's one of my most anticipated ones that I haven't seen yet. Sterling K. Brown, Jeffrey Wright, like so many amazing ones. So I'm super pumped to see that.
Without doubt. I want to catch that one this weekend as well. And I wasn't able to make it last weekend to Origin, so I'm definitely going to see it this weekend. Got to get it on my list. I'm a Bernthal fan. I think that film looks phenomenal. I'm going to give it a shot. I want to get there. So
For sure. Well, the IMDb Pros top trending segment, the top trending movie is Saltburn. I almost clicked this on the other day, and then I watched the trailer and I was like, I can't do it. It's freaking crazy. But I guess it is kind of like an interlude into what it's like to grow up stupid wealthy and to be so disconnected from regular society to where you are in your own world.
Yes.
So that's a very interesting perspective that I will probably watch at some point, but right now I'm good.
Yeah.
The top trending TV show is True Detective, and the top trending star is Barry Corrigan, from, of course, Saltburn.
Yes, we don't know about Quentin Tarantino, but if you watch Saltburn, you'll know about Barry.
You'll know if he's
you'll know if he's snipped or not, because I want to see Barry on the top of this list again next week, but for Masters of the Air, because he's in that too. Can we just stop talking about Saltburn? I'm sure it's a phenomenal film, but that's not why he's at the top of the list. He's at the top of the trending list because of something in Saltburn, and we need to move on.
Exactly, man.
It's like Mary Elizabeth Winstead from the Ahsoka. The only reason she kept being on the top of the list, there's other reasons, guys. There's other reasons, okay? That's all
exactly. Well, anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to 248 of ITCAF Podcast. We got to thank our guest one more time, Azaria Carter, for coming on the show. Be sure to check out Found on Peacock and NBC. Got renewed already for a second season, so that's amazing. Be sure, like I said, catch up now while you can. Be sure to follow her on Instagram as well. So all the good things, man, all the good things.
For sure.
And you guys know you can follow us at Crazy Ant Media and at ITCAF Podcast on all social media platforms. And we have a new episode of Everything's Okay coming out next week. It is a close one to me. It's another family sessions, and it's going to be with my stepfather, and it's going to be about what it's like being a step parent. So I think that's going to be a really good one. I'm very excited for that. So be sure to follow Everything's Okay and subscribe to our YouTube channel. So you can stay up to date and all the good things. And you guys know you can follow us both personally on social media. Myself at JLoganAustin and
at Crazy Ant CEO.
That's right, man. That's right. And you guys know you can subscribe to this podcast anywhere you listen to your podcast: Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Stitcher, and so much more. And of course, be sure to visit our website, www.crazyantmedia.com, where you can start rocking the latest and greatest Crazy Ant Media gear. New merch available now.
Yes.
So be sure to check it out. Podcasters, filmmakers, writers, producers, directors. We have something for you.
Yes, we do.
So be sure to check it out. It's so freaking good. But man, oh man, what a great show. I honestly, I'm very interested in that Peacock limited series show that has Terrence Howard, Taraji P. Henson, Kevin Hart, and Samuel Jackson. I think that was the one that's got me most excited.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting story. It's a true story. So but anytime you pull together a cast like that and then you throw the background of a real story involved, I mean, it's going to be intense. I think that's going to be a really good one. And of course, I'm super pumped about Superman. I can't wait to see that. Literally my whole life that it's going to be full circle for me. That's going to be amazing. And I got to tell you, I'm a little hesitant about Suits LA. I don't know. I feel like sometimes when you go to try to capitalize on something that was so successful, you miss, and it's not fair. As good, so I'm a little nervous. I'm pulling for it. I hope it's awesome. I hope it's as brilliant as the original, but right. I don't know. I guess we're gonna find out.
That's for sure, man. I'm also excited for Millie being cast as Supergirl. I'm a Game of Thrones guy, and she did amazing in House of the Dragon, so I'm excited for it, and I can attest for her. So yeah, I'm pumped, man. I'm pumped
for sure, and I can't wait to talk to John and find out all about why these people are who that. I mean, holy shit. I'm excited every time I hear more and more people being Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner. Come on, man. He's going to be a great Guy Gardner. I don't know, man. They're killing it with the casting, so it's going to be interesting.
Exactly. And of course, everybody knows we have to give tribute to the one, the only
Oprah!